You told me you had a bet.
December.
Why are you waiting? You waited.
This December, Sonic 3's coming out. But today, we're gonna go through the best Sonic games, including Sonic Adventure 2 and...
Why the fuck? You told me you had an opening bit and you waited the first 5 seconds. It's just silence.
Speaking of delivery, you cunt.
But you need to figure out delivery before you hit the play button.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Whatever.
This already sucks.
You suck. Thank you. Gosh.
So you haven't read the
I wish you would shut up all over my face. You quote. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck Sonic. God damn, why are we here? Why did we do this to ourselves?
Don't ever tell me you have an intro ever again.
Don't ever tell me that you're fascinating ever again. You never did, but I didn't ask.
He's grinding again. Oh my god.
Fuck you. So, welcome to the definitive Sonic...
I'm not done yelling at you yet!
Come back here so I can yell at you. God, fuck your ass.
You know what? I just have to remember that I hate Sonic more. If this video will teach you anything, it's that no one hates Sonic as much as Sonic fans.
It's amazing because we went through... This is Ryan and Drew's Sonic tier list. And as much as it is that, keep in mind that I have not played every Sonic game. I played quite a few. I've played a lot. Drew has also played quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
But this is... Let's see, how many did I get up to? It's at least 41 Sonic games. And...
That sounds about right, yeah.
And it's like... Going through, you just cannot believe the history of this blue shitball. Like, you just cannot believe where he started, what he's gone through, the highs, the lows, and you just can't believe what has happened to him. You think it's so simple. You think it's so simple. Sonic sucks. So saying Sonic sucks is like saying filet mignon is just meat.
Right? Like there's so much more to it.
There's so much more. No, there's like tenderness. You gotta sear both sides. You gotta say if you mess up any part of that equation, restart. You have to restart. And so this is what we're doing. We're starting at the beginning. We're going for it. And I don't see this going well. That being said, let's do okay.
So I remember we did a video talking about Sonic really early on. It was like our second video.
Yes.
And
I think it was for the Sonic Presents Predictions?
Yeah, it was like
something
the first one or something. Yeah. And as cringe as it was,
we got a lot of our feelings about Sonic out there.
That was 2.5 hours long.
This is a mistake.
I still can't tell how long this is going to be. This could be an hour. It could be actually 6.
I can tell you it's at the very least, going to be an hour.
Right. I almost want it to be really long, but like it's not like I'm going to try to make it long.
Do you remember when we did
Smash?
Our Wii U and 3DS retrospective? We covered Lost World a little bit in that. Do you actually remember how long?
You know, I was actually in an okay mood to record this, and I remember that Sonic Lost World exists.
Do you want to know how long it took us to talk about Lost World? It took like 15 minutes. We're in trouble. We're in deep
Sonic Lost World is in trouble. I'm not letting that game get away.
But we'll get to that. For now, do you just want to get into it? Do you have any more declarative statements?
No, I don't think so, man.
I mean, we're going to be making a lot of declarative statements along the way, but I say we just dive in and let the tracks guide the train.
Yeah. Now, are we talking like Radical Train from 06 or Sunset Park from Triple Trouble? Oh, right. Actually, that was an accidental segue.
Oh,
wow.
true.
That's how stupid of a fucking Sonic nerd I am.
Oh, true.
I'm
talking about the Station Square train that takes you to...
Don't ever do that again, but that was good.
trouble. Anyway, Sonic OG, that's what I call it.
No. I wanted to say, the list we chose, right? Because we obviously chose more than just platformers.
Yes.
Notably, we included every racing game. Besides Drift and Drift 2. But we didn't include
Free
any
Riders. We did not include Free Riders, I don't think.
Yes, we did. What?
I can't remember. There's a lot of Sonic games.
There's only 3 Riders games.
That's true.
Did you not include it on your list?
I don't think I did.
I'll tell you where it goes. But we'll get to that.
All right.
When we get to 2010. We omitted, most notably, the 8-bit platformers. So Sonic 1 8-bit, Sonic 2 8-bit, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble.
They might be fine games, but they're not.
Like, we're already covering so much trash, but the reason I wanted to omit them was, like, we're trying to figure out the definitive Sonic game, and, like, a lot of these games we wanted to cover because people say they're definitive or say they're really bad, and we wanted to, like, get into how we feel about them. Some of these games, it's not the case, but, like, we never hear people talk about them, and we thought they'd be interesting. The Game Gear games are, like, okay, like, the Sonic 2 one is, like, really hard.
Yeah.
And then Sonic Chaos, you can be in like 30 fucking minutes, and then like Sonic 1 and Triple Trouble are like pea good, and that's kind of like all there is.
There's just not much to say.
You know, like no one talks about
games.
the atmosphere of Sonic Chaos because it's a fucking Master System game. Like they're good, they're pretty good. I think maybe besides Sonic 2.
We're gonna get into this later. We're gonna get into this later, but I think.
But we cover like most of the other like big handheld games.
The thing that I'll just have this sweeping statement on my side of the field here, which is, for me, one of the worst things you can be is middle of the road, because you're not memorable. Sonic 06, and we're going to get into this later, but like for all of its flaws, is memorable to me.
Yeah, of course.
Something like Free Riders is not memorable. Don't.
Oh wow.
Well, okay, let me put it this way, like.
You have no idea. Did you look into Free Riders during the
I looked into some stuff, but I didn't look at much.
Oh,
I didn't
my
look
sweet summer child.
I know that it's a Kinect game, but
I'll get into it for you. I will do you this honor.
Don't worry, it's one that I missed. But I'm just saying that's like the worst you could ever be to me is unmemorable, because if you don't even spark something when someone says your name, that just shows me that I have nothing to offer, where I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of games on here. A slight spoiler, but my tier list, I think maybe, let me pull it up. I think maybe more than half of it is C tier.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Mine is definitely.
I mean, you look at any large group of games, I don't think that's really weird. Like, it's not an insult.
Well, I mean, especially when you have a franchise like Sonic or Mario or Zelda, a lot of like. They're not all going to be your favorites. Some are going to stick out. Some are going to stick out for all the right reasons. Some stick out for bad reasons. So it's like, okay, well, being more middle of the road is kind of flattering in that sense.
Oh yeah, it is. It is a little more than half. The one other thing I think we should touch on is, excuse me, indigestion. I was reminded of Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric.
Fair enough.
The tier we used, I was at first iffy when you suggested, because the standard is like S, A, B, C, D, F. Some people include E, and I usually think that's unnecessary, but for 2 specific games, I think it helps. So E basically became the normal F tier, and then what I put in F tier is like super trash, like really, really unfathomably bad.
So I'm kind of going off a specific list. I cited a lot of Jay's reviews.
Yeah.
Shout out to he's got great content. I loved all of his videos, and he's very like just telling you his experiences with games.
Yeah, he's pretty thorough.
S, all-time classic Sonic games. A, great games.
I could already see. I'm sorry. I'm getting a vision to the future, and I don't think it's going to end well for me.
A, great games. B, good games. C, games that are good but bland. Flawed but good.
Right.
D is bad games you enjoy. Functional games, but you don't enjoy.
Right, either or.
E is games that you think are terrible, and F is like bootleg.
Yeah.
Like borderline bootleg games.
So I look at this entire list, and besides maybe one aspect of the way I did this that we'll get into later, probably at the very end, I feel right about where I put everything. I didn't actually start tiering everything, comparing these games until last night. And dude, I got stuck on some of these for a while, but I am really happy with how it turned out. I think I spent 5 hours on this, and let's see if we spend 5 hours here talking about it. But listen, man, we're getting our worst video out of the way right now, today, and we'll never have to do it again.
Until like 5 Sonic games come out again, but...
Yeah, but one at a time, probably, But
until then...
Go put my mic up closer to my mouth. Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Let me take a big slurpy sip. Actually, let me get another drink. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna raid his fridge.
My fridge, no.
You want some sugar?
Nah.
Alright.
I still have my drink.
Every time I think I've been as cringe as I could possibly be on mic, I do something stupid. Like, my brain tries to, like, out-stupid itself, and then the front part of my brain is like, no, don't do that. But then it's too late.
And then you view yourself in the third dimension.
I don't think I've ever done the So Sonic 1,
So
right?
Sonic,
like the start.
I call it Sonic OG. Because saying...
And you call Sonic Adventure DX Sonic DX, okay? I don't trust your names.
Because I had the GameCube version growing up.
But it's weird to call it Sonic DX.
I will call it Sonic Adventure for this. I will call it Sonic Adventure for this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. But Sonic 1...
I didn't make any notes on the classic games because I already know, like, it's ingrained in my head what exactly everything I think about these games.
That's good. Then you can maybe help me see the light, because I put this in a C.
Yeah, that's exactly where it belongs. Dude, no higher, no lower.
Sonic came out in 1991. It certainly shows, since it was different from plenty of its competitors. It has plenty of creativity, but is often repetitious and boring to get through. Going fast isn't really important, as it slowly turns into a 10 times more difficult platformer. That said, it was still enough to give it a pass.
Yeah, I was really worried about being too lenient on Sonic 1.
Yeah.
But I didn't want that to entirely dictate where I put things on my list, but, like, as stupid as the interviews are in hindsight, if I were saying, like, well, we put zones like Marble and Labyrinth in because, we wanted to let players slow down a bit, Like, this is the first time they're ever making this kind of game. Yes, in hindsight, it's stupid, but, like, this is brand new fucking territory for a platformer, man.
I kind of view it, I try to view it in a vacuum. Like, when this game came out, if you immediately picked up this game, what would you think of it? Obviously, there's not too much like it, and it has characters that you immediately recognize, and you immediately go to and you think, you know what, I can get with this. If they release a second game like it, I'll surely buy it.
Yeah, because they'll improve. If anything, Sonic 1 has great aesthetic. It's a perfect starting point for the music, the weird kind of almost tricky kind of level geometry, at least with like stuff like the checkerboard floors and stuff, and like loop-de-loops.
It's wacky at times. It's just plain wacky, but it's never to the point where you're thinking, okay, this world is just completely fake. Like compared to like Qbert, where he's like in a void. It's like, okay, this is a world. I can look at this as a world. Like Mario, where you're just like, okay.
Yeah, like you see the sky, you see the ground.
You see the sky, you see the ground, see everything, and it's just, compared to that, it's like, okay, I can see what they're going for, I can see the creativity. I think that it can be improved upon. That being said, I am not going to put it above anywhere but middle of the road.
Yeah, I think given that we use the same kind of foundation for how we decided what each letter of the tier represents, I think D would be too harsh, because D is like, we're getting into trash.
Yeah.
Lower C is kind of trash, and that's where I put Sonic 1 as like the lower third of C, but like, you know,
I would give it a C minus.
there are occasional times where I'm willing to play it, especially in newer versions where like they add Tails and Knuckles, there's widescreen, you got the elemental shields from 3 that make it a little more like, oh, okay, you know, it's a little different.
Oh, absolutely. And
it's not that Sonic 1, to me, it doesn't do anything better than any other game, but like sometimes it's like, oh, the beginning.
Personally, for me, it's a D. But objectively, I can't. I think of if I had just picked up this game and I did not ever play Sonic before, I would have probably given this.
You know, I guess I forgot to ask you this. But what you said kind of clues me in that, like, you didn't rank these games based on how much fun you have with them.
No.
Okay, and I'm kind of glad we both did the same thing, because, like, there are games in the C tier especially is all over the place, because there's games I really enjoy, and then like there's 19 games above it that I will never want to play.
Yeah.
But like I judge these specifically on like how close is this to my vision of like what Sonic should be, like the ideal Sonic game.
See, I actually went a different way. My ranking system is kind of based on how much fun you can have with the game, because I'm looking at the game as a total package.
Right.
To where it's like, okay, even if this sucks, this works, and this is something I can have fun with.
I think that's a little distinctive enough from my idea that we will make some interesting conversation. But it's an ideal that I can respect even if it's not my own.
With that, though, are you ready to move on to Sonic 2?
The one thing I want to say about Sonic 1, this might be one of my 19 million schizo takes during the show. How much of Sonic 1 have you played?
Oh gosh, I played like the first. I think I got to the world with like the sinking platforms that went into lava. And
Marble. Oh, wow. Okay, so
I got that far before I was like, I can't do it.
I mean, that's fine. That's very early, but that's fine. That's where most people would stop, because it's like you hit a brick wall after Green Hill. Green Hill is so perfect. It's disgusting how amazing they got the first zone in the entire series. If you wonder why they jack off Green Hill,
it's because it worked.
It's so easy to forget how fucking amazing it is. Truly, but I, being the fucking idiot that I am, because I'm so numb to Sonic, when I play Sonic 1, I am not as mad at the super slow zones that are Marble, the one with the lava, and Labyrinth, the one with the water. I tolerate those zones more than Spring Yard and Starlight, because at least when I was a kid and I'd listen to reviews, you know, before I was good enough to get further in the game than like the second zone, I'd always hear, well, there's 3 slow zones and there's 3 fast zones. The first, the third, and the fifth. You know, Green Hill, Spring Yard, and Starlight. And I get to Spring Yard and Starlight every time, and I'm like, these are nowhere near as good as Green Hill.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they let you go faster, but they also have moments that slow you down. And I'd rather go through an entire zone that's slow than get something that's almost as good as the beginning of the game and then, there's these slow elevators in Spring Yard. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you go fast and then, oh, no. It's like
defeating purpose, because you're told, oh, you got to go fast as a character, and then you're just like
Labyrinth.
waiting.
Like, yeah, I'm not saying Labyrinth is a good Sonic level, but like it's a consistent emotional experience for me.
Yeah.
And I get to Starlight, and half the time I'm having fun, and half the time I want to throw the TV out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So
fair enough.
That's the first of Drew's take your meds takes.
Take your meds. I like that.
Tune in next time.
So you ready to move on to Sonic 2?
Sonic 2. A lot of people say that Sonic 2 is their favorite game in the series, and I just can't see it.
Well,
that said,
yep.
I put it in B tier. I think I don't enjoy it as much as B tier. I would put it in C.
Yeah.
But I think it is just barely deserving enough of B tier.
So I wrote down less acts, more fun stages, supersonic, Tails, and good music. while this game has its flaws, I'm not sure I'd rank it much higher than the first game, given my dislike for the style of gameplay. Lack of save states hurts this game, but yeah, I'd rank it in B tier. I rank it in B tier because it is such a fundamental improvement.
Yes.
I cannot rank it much higher for that.
I should note that newer versions of the game do save your progress.
Again, I'm looking at this as if I had just picked up this game fresh from a store.
That's fair.
To where it's like, if you don't have save state, like I look at a game like recently I just played Crash Bandicoot, no save states.
Yeah.
And that was a PlayStation game that actually had a save system in it, and I'm just like, why? Like, why don't you have save states for this game? So it's very different for me, but
Wait, do you mean save states as in, like, you can literally save whenever you want? Or just like, oh, okay. So
So
if you were playing in, like, fucking Quad Ruin Zone and you stopped halfway through, you restart the game later, it starts you at the beginning of the zone, is that still bad?
No.
Okay.
But I'm saying if it starts me at the zone, then at least I'm there.
Yeah.
I don't have to go through everything to get there.
Yeah.
So that's my...
Well, that's kind of interesting, because I judge these games based on... I didn't rank every, like, other version of some of these games. Like, I don't have Sonic Adventure DX on here. I assumed that the version I ranked was the best version. So Sonic 2, I'm thinking the widescreen versions that save your progress every zone. You have Knuckles in there too, some extra features.
Again, different perspective, same result. You're viewing the improvements, I'm viewing the fresh take, fresh eyes on it, where it's just like, and we both reached the same conclusion, both B tier.
Now, again, there's lots of games in C tier that I enjoy more or find more interesting.
Oh, sure.
The Spin Dash, like, it is... A lot of people forget that the Spin Dash isn't in Sonic 1. And I think that's kind of natural to think that, because it feels so natural for Sonic. In Sonic 1, you could just roll down hills. The Spin Dash was later, man.
Yep.
But perfect. That was really such an evolutionary move. Now, again, because you probably haven't played much of Sonic 2, I don't know if you've heard this take that I have, but it's not an uncommon one, that, like, the first 6 zones are, like, fucking good. And then the last half hour of the game, I want to have a fucking kidney stone.
I've heard that take.
Because Oil Ocean is not horrible. Like, it's kind of fast. It's just, there's some dickish enemy placement. And then you get to Metropolis Zone, and it's entirely dickish enemy placement. And then you get to an Air Fortress level that's all over a bottomless pit. And again, not horrible, but it's like, this isn't great.
It's not peak, yeah.
And then you get to the final boss, and you're fighting 2 bosses, actually. One and then the other. No rings. They do not ask you to do that anywhere else in the game. Why? I had to beat Sonic 2 with Amy when they added her to Origins, because Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, like, you can't cheese the Death Egg Robot. Like, it's not even the hardest boss in the world. It's more just like, it goes on a little longer than you expect.
Well, and it also has like
the
a
pressure
weird...
gets to you.
Yeah, I remember seeing that it had a weird, like, not hit detection, what is it?
Hitbox?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, you have to, like, go behind him and hit him in the ass. And you can hit him in the front, but his arms are just high enough that it's, like, right around your jump's apex. You have to be very precise with it. I had to beat it with Amy, who has a fucking, no, in Origin she doesn't have a double jump. But she has, like, you know the Insta-Shield Sonic 3?
Yeah.
With her hammer, it's like a much bigger Insta-Shield.
Okay.
Like, Insta-Shield you have to get good at. Amy, you don't have to fucking practice that shit. That's the only way I could beat the fucking final bosses. Fuck Silver Sonic. Fuck him.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It took me fucking 10 years to beat that boss. And then you get to Death Egg Robot, and they don't even save your fucking progress. But also, there's very important lore in that little hallway in between where Sonic's chasing Eggman. Eggman is at least as fast. And they actually reference this very important lore again in Sonic Adventure 2. The reason he's in the mech is because he's purposely handicapping himself so he can get more of a challenge out of things. And that's very in character for someone as egotistical as him. You just have this look on your face like, would you shut the fuck up?
I just didn't know. I'm just like, oh, I didn't... Is that actual lore? I
No.
was about to say, like,
No.
doesn't
There's
sound like
no way
it.
Eggman is... No, when...
I know I've
Yeah.
seen the scene.
No, but like if you look at videos of like hacks where Eggman is out of the mech and just running like City Escape and he's going as fast because every character is as fast.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because it's this very awkward
yeah, the
run.
very awkward run and everything. So
Like the run where you smash your mic halfway through, or
I just felt I saw it before.
oh my god,
Oh no, oh, it's over there. Over here.
over weird.
Oh, Buzz. Mic mishap. Mic malfunction.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're back, everyone.
I just get so enamored by Eggman.
So, anything else to say on Sonic 2?
I think it's really funny that they introduced Tails, and if you're just playing like single player, right, and Tails is with you, if he dies, he'll like fly back in, right?
Oh, yeah.
He'll fly sometimes. If you play as Tails or if player 2 plays as Tails, he can't fly. Not in the first version of the game. Obviously, later versions fix that, and that's one of the reasons why I love later versions so much.
Weird.
But it's so weird.
So, my the next game is Sonic CD, or as I like to call it, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom.
I love Sonic Boom, but you can do anything. / Toot Toot Sonic Warrior. The gratuitous English, the chorus, the fucking rockin', it's just...
Damn.
They're both good. Like, it's hard for me to call one better than the other.
So obviously love the soundtrack. Time travel.
Now, hold on. There's 2 soundtracks. You prefer
That's
the
true.
Japanese or the American?
I prefer the American. But I will concede that the Japanese has ones I also like.
I mean, yeah, obviously both are good. It's just the American soundtrack is always so weird for me because it gets very atmospheric. Like there's definitely a lot of rock in there, but sometimes like Collision Chaos I think about where it's just like these ambient kind of droning notes. It's like what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
You play the Japanese version, it's like it's all funk.
Yep. they were on something over there. Good future and bad future. What? Still, not too different gameplay-wise, but I can appreciate it. Amy and Metal Sonic, again, it's just repetitious for me. And ironically, on its Sonic CD, I give it a C.
Have you played Sonic CD?
I played a little bit.
Did you try to go for the good ending?
I didn't. I just played it naturally. I didn't know what I was doing.
It's so much different. It's so much different when you try and go for a good ending. Because if you just run right, and you can very easily do that, much more easily than in Sonic 1, you beat every level in like a minute or 2. The game's over in like an hour. You try to go for the good ending, there's 2 different ways. You can get 50 rings and enter the special ring at the end, like Sonic 1. And you can do these special stages where you run around a 3D map. It's kind of like F-Zero-y, and you're like destroying these UFOs. Or you can do it the Chad way that I have not been able to ever do. You look for robot generators in the past. So first you have to hit a past signpost, then you have to reach a fast speed and maintain it long enough to time travel.
Yep.
And then in the past version you have to look for the robot generator. I don't think you really appreciate how fucking massive Sonic CD's levels are.
No,
especially vertically. They are vertically huge.
I think a big thing for me is just that it's not my style of gameplay. Which is hard for me to appreciate when that's the whole game.
But I guess I expected you to have a more negative opinion because it is very different from Sonic 1 once you start getting into it.
It's not a negative opinion. It's just like...
Well, comparatively negative, I guess.
For me, it's like...
But yeah, I guess CD doesn't really have anything like Marble or Labyrinth.
Not only that, but like... Again, I put myself in the seat of that kid who just flips on his CD Genesis and just like, what am I doing? How would I know?
Yeah.
Like all these things where I'm just like...
Yeah, like
and then
read the manual.
It's like... How would I know this? And I just think about that, and I'm just like, even if I did know, I'm not sure that would be a big motivation for me. I'd much rather... I'm not a fan of having to do multiple playthroughs, because then your game has to be fucking fun. Like, guaranteed fun.
Yeah.
And since this kind of Sonic gameplay isn't my style anyway, that's why I put it average on the road. Because I can acknowledge the care and effort they put into it, the music and the care into the past and future stuff. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I can't rank it any higher, because it's just like, again, I put myself in the seat of that kid just looking at the TV thinking, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to give it a higher score for its creativity and for its interesting,
like
takes,
aesthetic,
but
yeah.
like, I just fucking can't.
No, that's fair. CD is a very middling game, even amongst just like diehard classic fans. It is the black sheep, not Sonic 1, this game, because some people have a really bad time with it, some people have a really good time. I have more fun with it than Sonic 1, because like, rather than Sonic 1 giving me one fast stage and then a bunch of slow stages and a bunch of middling stages, CD feels like a more consistent experience. But yeah, you have to be into the idea of like just beating the game beyond holding right and winning, because that, just going right towards the stage, there's not really a whole lot of obstacles, like some, I guess, for like a platformer, sure, but like the game level design feels much more significant when you're going for robot generators. And like sometimes I'll try and get some, like you can mix and match, like you can get some time stones
I'm sure.
with the just 50 rings and do the UFO thing, and you can get some time stones going for a good future in a zone, and I'll typically do that like early game. But again, the levels are huge and there's no indication of where the robot generators are. You just have to look. And I think the thing that kind of fucks over Sonic CD even beyond that is, what is Sonic's toolkit, right? He has a spin dash, he has a super PL. Those both help with, horizontal left and right distance. He can't glide like Knuckles. He can't climb walls. He can't fly. There's no bubble shield or like bounce attack. There's nothing for Sonic to get to these vertical heights besides just engaging with the level design, and that's fine. But they really are too big for their own good, and there's no like...
They feel directionless to me.
Yeah, and there's no landmarks, It's just like, you can go through a level for like 6 minutes, but like this side and this corner and the end, like it all feels the same.
If a commercial did not mention, you can go to past and future, like
you wouldn't fucking know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't fucking know. You just think, oh, it's another Sonic game. And which is, again, fine. But it's so much for me where I'm just like, God, man,
like,
I wish I had something more to chew on, because one of the ways that I can engage in 2D games, something like Shantae or Hollow Knight, have an interesting story and make it to where the gameplay feels good. It doesn't feel like that either. It feels better,
right?
But it doesn't feel like, okay, I'm motivated to go here to look for this thing, or like it doesn't. Like if there was a thing at the beginning, a sign saying like, oh, go up for a good future, go down for a bad future, or something like that. I don't know, but it's just like, as it stands, I'm just kind of playing.
Right. And Sonic CD has a very interesting fucking premise. It's a planet that appears over a lake like once every 5 years, and Eggman's building a mechanical shell around it, and there's time traveling stones on this planet, and there's a robot doppelganger. Very interesting premise. What do you get out of it besides the intro cutscene?
Yeah. Right?
Because as soon as Palm Tree Panic, and then it's just all gameplay from there. There's no real like Sonic 3 does, we'll get into that in a second, but like that does like little cutscene vignettes really well, where like the story's very simple, and I feel very weird about people who are like, Sonic 3 might be the best Sonic story ever told, because it's very simple, but how it's presented is great, because like the beginning of the game, Knuckles is an asshole. You get most of the way through the game, you see that Eggman tricks Knuckles feels remorse. There's a lot of little moments of character that are like, yep, I understand.
Well, the thing that I really appreciate with, and again, we'll get into this more with Sonic and Knuckles versus CD, but like, or we'll get into it more with that. I like that there's little moments.
Yeah.
Where the gameplay just stops to tell you the story. It shows you. And aside from the fact that I do enjoy cutscenes in games, I do also enjoy when you don't have to get a cutscene in the game.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens during the gameplay.
Yeah, it's like in-game, yeah.
And you just kind of experience it to where, like one of my biggest things is I like when, for instance, in Sonic Adventure 2, when you're doing Cityscape and you get to the truck part.
Right.
Where he's just like, oh, okay.
It's not a separate cutscene. It happens.
Yeah, it just
to
happens.
you.
And it doesn't feel very special, but it's not too long. And you just kind of like, you run from it
Right.
and you feel the anxiety.
It feels like a natural segue, yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, here we go. We got to here now. That's why I can't give Sonic CD a pass, because it doesn't have enough of those. It doesn't have enough of a high point for me to really rest that mountain of it on, where it's like, okay, it's an okay game. If I didn't know what I was doing, I'd have to look it up. And in today's day and age, why would I look up Sonic CD when I can look up a million other games?
Yeah, exactly.
But again, taking myself back to that kid opening the box fresh out of the case, I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'd be very lost. And maybe I could read an instruction manual, who knows? But I don't see that as motivating for me to play.
Yeah.
It's not motivating, it's just kind of there.
Like, if you don't already see the potential fun you'd have, then yeah, like, playing a game with the manual isn't going to make it that much more fun that it'd necessarily be worth the time investment.
Plus, it's like, you gotta remember what other games are out. Like, okay, well, Mario's out.
Yeah.
Mario and Donkey Kong, and you're just like,
Sonic CD is more interesting, but like, yeah,
and
those games are the way more consistent experience.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm gonna go to what I know. So.
Yeah. I guess my final thing is to kind of go back to like the little vignettes about like you feel like Knuckles is an asshole throughout that entire game, and then near the end,
constantly in your way.
In the end, when Knuckles is finally like, oh fuck, I didn't realize you were the good guys. Here, I'm gonna help you. You fucking feel it, because Knuckles has dicked you over 12 times, and then he opens the way in the Hidden Palace, the Sky Sanctuary, and you're like, oh fuck. And then you see the Death Egg, and Knuckles he does this little like hand motion, like go on without me. He's like tired, but he's giving you the path to save the day. You feel that.
It's a lot more character and weight to the animations.
Sonic CD has 3 little kind of cutscenes like that. You beat the first zone, and Amy is just a girl who's there, and she hugs you, and you're like, get away from me. And then the next zone, she's following you again, and she gets kidnapped by Metal Sonic, and she goes, and Metal Sonic's just like, bye. And it's like, okay. And you chase him, and you don't see him throughout the rest of the level. Fucking 4 zones later, you defeat Metal Sonic, and Amy's tied to a pole, and you save her.
Yeah.
You don't. Those 2 characters are great. You don't get to know them. It's so anticlimactic. You know?
Yeah, I just... gosh.
All that to say, Sonic CD is carried by its aesthetic.
Yep.
Story, not so much. It's got a good premise, and it doesn't really do anything with it, but it's the music and the visuals that kind of, you know, the concept that wrote me in, but the story, like, you get that intro cutscene, it's great, and then there's a bunch of nothing, you get that ending cutscene, it's great, and it's like, I wish the whole game was like that. So, you said you ranked CD above or below 1?
Same as 1C.
Okay, yeah, I ranked it in high C, but yeah, I think it'd be disingenuous to rank it any higher.
Okay, well, okay. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Air and Angel Island revamped in Knuckles.
Hey, okay, alright, hold on. Let's take it easy. Now, are you ready to jerk off the best game in the series?
Should I just get my notes out of the way first?
Yeah.
A memeable title, a nightmare of a cartridge, and and easily the best game out of the first 4, and Knuckles.
Oh, thank God. So, okay, some people say Sonic 2 is better than 3, and I don't see it. I just don't.
There's a lot good to say about 2. I don't get it, but like, or not, I don't get why they say it's better than this. 14 zones with creative beat-friendly music, created in part by a legend in the music industry, and amazing scenery and Knuckles. Enter a big fancy ring and get blue-balled to win Chaos and Knuckles. Hypersonic and Knuckles. Rank A and Knuckles.
There's so much to talk about with 3. Like how, yes,
I narrowed a lot
Legend of
down.
the Music Icon was part of the production, but for legal reasons, Sega will never ever talk about it. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Thanks,
isn't it
money
weird?
wanderers.
Isn't it weird how the 3 songs that sound the most like the music of him and his producers was removed in the latest re-release of Sonic 3? And the last time we had a re-release before that was like 15 fucking years.
You said that so effortlessly.
Ain't that really fucking coincident that the Michael Jackson estate probably wants nothing to do with Sega because Sega didn't give credit to people who worked on the game?
Why don't they just do it now?
I think it's just
It's just like a too late thing.
too late thing. Like if
Because they didn't get their money.
Bro,
Yeah.
Sonic 3 came out in 1994 and they didn't put him in the fucking credits. And
Which is
yeah,
weird. You would
let's
think
do
that-
it in 2024. I think it's just sunken cost fallacy. And they don't, because if they admit it too, then they owe the MJ estate money. And oh no, we can't do that. And I mean, like, in fairness, like, you know, how much money would they ask for, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you don't know because they haven't talked about it.
You'd be like,
because
okay, well,
they've been
here were the
avoiding it.
sales we had on that game versus
Yeah,
what.
here's our sales in Sonic 3, one of our most popular games from the entire company.
And if you take this much,
Right.
it might bankrupt us.
Yeah.
So-
So, like, I get it, but why they didn't include his credits to begin with, I'm not sure. And, you know, even then, like, it's very fuzzy. There's been a few people who've spoken about it, and it's like, was it him, or was it his producer? Or, you know, the whole music credits are fuzzy.
Despite, it's a shame that such a good game has a controversy like this around it.
It really shouldn't, man.
It's
just
a very
basic
good
fucking platformer.
and it's a very good Sonic game. And I say this as someone who does not like the. I thought this when I was reviewing the game because I actually did go back and play a few levels. If I were to ever pick up a 2D Sonic classic game, it would probably be Sonic and Knuckles.
Right.
Where I'm just like, this seems like the most fun to play.
Like, by far, the two that seem the easiest to get into are Sonic 3, and if you consider it part of the classic series, Mania. Those two seem the easiest to jump into, just in terms of, like, they've nailed the level design, the production value, right, the multiple playable characters, actually playing differently this time so Tails can fucking fly. And swim! Tails can swim, and it's great.
And of course, like we were saying earlier in the Sonic CD discussion, just a lot more going on.
There's a lot more going on.
And it's like one of my favorite. I'm a sucker for turnabout stories where you're just like, oh no, he betrayed me, or oh no, I guess revelation stories would be more proper because it's just like, oh man, he got betrayed. What's he gonna do? Oh, he's helping us now. Like, I'm a sucker for that type of stuff, and so I like Knuckles' little gesture too, because they didn't have to do this, but it feels like something that's just, yeah, why wouldn't you add this? Where he looks at Sonic and Tails, and it's just clear he doesn't change part. He goes, come on. He makes like the hand motion.
Yeah.
Come on. He opens the way for you, and you can go and get him. And it's just like, that just makes sense.
Something I wish they made more clear in game is like the backstory is different between the American and Japanese manuals, as is the case for many games of its era. Sonic was very guilty of it, but in both versions of the story for Sonic 3, they make it clear that Knuckles is the last of his kind on this island, and people don't come to the island every week for a fucking vacation because it's floating, you know? So the Death Egg crashes after Sonic 2, and Eggman's there, and Knuckles is seen in murals in the ruins of his island like a dragon egg. And he's like, oh, wait, this is like some like heavenly thing. Like, this is really important. He goes there, he finds Eggman, and Eggman immediately notices, like, this guy doesn't know anything about anything. I can take advantage of this. So he's like, okay, fuck. My entire space station crashed, and it's landed on this island, and now this guy is like, what the fuck? My island just sank. What do I do? Okay, listen. I'm the guy from this prophecy. You're gonna have two little fucking dorks coming here that want to steal the Chaos Emeralds, and you need to do everything you can to stop it while I repair this Death Dragon Egg.
So weird how the translation differences, and they just, I don't know.
But that's why, you know, like, you could see that, like, you could say maybe, oh, you know, Super Sonic, he knows how to use Chaos Emeralds. No, Knuckles just sees like, well, that guy told me he's bad, and I have nothing else to go off of. So I think it makes it just a little more believable of a story.
Yeah.
But all that to say, man, the Death Egg is so much cooler in this game than Sonic 2. Sonic 2, you go there, and it's not even a zone, it's a fucking hallway. And I get it, every fucking game for 19 million years has been rushed in this series, but
it's just a lot more, it's fun when it's more fleshed out.
Dude, in Sonic 3, you go. The first act is inside, and you see this giant fucking like space core. It's like the Death Star, and then the second act is outside, and you see Earth.
I also like the
level themes are great too. Fucking like
even though like level
launch base, Angel Island.
Jeez, man. That's why I give it the easy A. It's I would have to play it really like through in order to know if I really want to give it an S, but I give it an A just because it's like it's a great game.
It's a solid Sonic game.
Yeah,
and there's very few issues with it. It feels like an uncompromised vision. I think it has faults, but it feels like an uncompromised vision. Sonic 2, I look at those last couple of zones, I think about the fucking horrible special stages.
A lot of people, I think a lot of people mistake the difference between good and great. You can call either.
Yeah.
The difference I see it is not only fundamental, but who can pick up this game and immediately have fun with it and get to the end.
Well, that's the thing is I think Sonic 2 comes close to that. But the end of the game specifically falters, and Sonic 3 doesn't really have that. There's 2 zones in the game that are like, I would really not play this. Then they're like in the middle of the first half and the middle of the second half. But I think there's a lot of quality of life stuff around it, like, you know, the bonus stages for shields. The fact that there's shields at all is just a lot of little stuff.
See, you say that, but as a kid who played stuff like Zelda, I was much more into games that had a story. And when I knew something had a story, I wanted to see it through. It motivated me. So even if the people did find it challenging, the story would lead them through rather than just the gameplay.
Yeah.
So where I think that makes it, I think that elevates it from good to great. Other than just the fantastic music and all that, it's like the story, when done right, can really elevate a game. Music is a heavy lifter.
Yeah.
Gameplay is a natural desire. Story and music and all the payoffs, all the setups and everything, that's what you need to make a great game. That being said, I don't think it's perfect.
Of course not.
But I give it the great game.
One thing we haven't touched into really is special stages. I touched into it a bit with CD, and it's a weird concept, right? So you can see from the beginning of the very series, you know, Sonic 1, the special stages are meant to show off what the Genesis can do. You know, at that stage in the series, and they're, you know, they've got trippy graphics and stuff. And then Sonic 2, it's like pseudo 3D. They do the same thing with CD, and 3 as well. They're all like 3D now. I really, really do not fucking like the idea of getting a true ending from these games, like these mini games, that they're not like challenging you on what they know, they're just completely fucking irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's just a change because, like, hey, look at the graphics. Cool. It's 1992.
Yeah.
What if I play this in 2024? Then I just say this controls like ass. With that said, I think either CD or Sonic 3 have the best special stages.
My personal favorite is Sonic 3, but I can see where you would...
CD because, like, at least you're running around and jumping. However, Blue Spheres, I think, is a more consistent quality experience, but...
It just depends on the challenges you kind of prefer.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I could get 7 Chaos Emeralds when I was a kid, and then the second half of the game, the fucking Hyper Emeralds, I'd get like 1. Now, last year I got all 7, and I became a true gamer. I beat Doomsday Zone with Hypersonic, not just Supersonic. I did it. But I really wish Blue Spheres was actually Sonic, and not like, go through these blue orbs and turn them red. Woo! What?
Yeah, it's weird.
But it is fun. It is fun.
Yeah,
It's just not Sonic.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Sonic 1 is just, I don't even know what the fuck's going on. The stage is spinning by itself at all times.
So
and
weird.
And then Sonic 2, okay, if you don't understand why people hate the special stages of Sonic 2, because it's just like a half pipe and you collect rings and avoid spikes. The reason people hate it is because if you're playing with Tails beside you, and like, why wouldn't you, right? It doesn't hurt anything. When Tails gets hit, he loses your rings.
Yep.
It's like, you little bitch. And when I play as you, you can't even fly? Why do you do this to me? Why do you forsake me? Now, Tails is a good boy.
Yeah, but he just...
Starting in Sonic 3.
Yeah.
Sonic 2, he's useless. And it should also be known that originally in Sonic 2, when you got the Chaos Emeralds as Tails, there was no Super Tails. You just got all the Chaos Emeralds. Those are only for Sonic. He gets top billing, baby. Sonic 3, the original releases of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If you get the Chaos Emeralds as Sonic and Knuckles, you go Super. You get the Hyper Emeralds, you go Hyper. Tails doesn't get anything for the Chaos Emeralds. When he gets the Hyper Emeralds, he gets Super. They have changed that. But even in Sonic 3, they did not give him the redemption he needed. In fairness, when you get Super Tails, and you've worked extra hard for any payoff at all, he gets the Flicky Army of Death. Do you know about this? He gets 4 birds around him, and they instantly home in onto any fucking thing around them, including bosses. Like, you don't even need to press a button, they just, like, they go at everything. And that's a preview to canonically the most powerful character in the franchise, but we'll get to her a little later. No, newer versions of the game, Super Tails is just, you know, you don't have the birds, but you're still invincible and stuff and faster. And then Hyper Emeralds, you get the game-breaking little blue jay dudes for no reason.
So where did you put it on your ranking?
Oh, haha. I put it in A.
Okay.
It definitely A. It's a little too good to be in B tier.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, this is like the peak. I think the reason why people prefer Sonic 2 is like, well, I don't want to play a game as long because, like, you know, Sonic 3 on its own 6 zones, Sonic Knuckles 6 zones, you put them together and everyone says it's a definitive version, right? More features and stuff. It can be a little beefy, but even back in 1994, this game had a save system and Sonic 2 never did. Yeah. So, like, even in 1994, I don't understand that argument. Now, in current year, when both games have save states in newer versions, it's like, what are you even blathering on about?
So weird.
Knock knock, it's Knuckles.
Speaking of Knuckles, did we say we were going to cover Chaotix?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Yes.
I'll just let me just say my notes. They're not long. It seems boring. I don't understand why the stilted ring gameplay exists in the first place. It's not fun for me. Rank D. That's being generous. It's just not for me.
I'm too based and classic pilled to put it in D. I put it in C. It's like middle of the road even, and I think to most people that would actually be crazy. Like, what are you even talking about, right? And I completely understand that, but
if you put it in B, I might be like,
no.
What? I'd be what?
I'm based, but I'm not an idiot. The thing is that Naoto Oshima was like Sonic's character designer, and he also helped build a lot of like. He really shaped like what Sonic's world would look like. He helped give like the vibe. So like he was one of like the big people that really made Sonic 1 what it was.
Okay.
And what you need to know is like Sonic team made a studio in America and those guys made Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. Okay. So if you wondered why Sonic 2 feels different and then you get Sonic CD and it feels super different and you go back to 3 which is a little more, we'll say, kind of realistic, a little more down to earth, like 2, and why you had that really weird game in between. Sonic 2 and CD were being worked on at the same time. 2 happened to get finished first, released a year earlier.
Gotcha.
But Naoto Oshima worked on CD back in Japan, and then the next Sonic game he worked on was Knuckles Chaotix. So that's why this game is vibes. CD and Chaotix are both vibes, but Chaotix specifically has this. It almost kind of reminds you of like, this isn't. It's not 1-to-1, but like Sunshine, because like the whole setting is an amusement park island that Eggman's like taken over, and all the music it's very chill.
Oh yeah, I remember the music was good. I should have wrote that down
like,
too.
Like Chaotix is the birth of fucking lo-fi beats, bro. Not every song obviously, but like a lot of them. Like the intro stage and like Marina Madness.
I think, yeah, it's starting to come back to me. I think my problem with that is that there is such a thing as oversaturation to just not your type of music. And I think that's kind of what that game does for me, where it's like, I like it, but I think it'd be like, it's too much.
The color palette too, like there's, because of the power of the 32X, the world's most famous and successful gaming system of all time, there's a lot of colors going on. It can maybe hurt your eyes after a while.
Which is like, I get it, it's a feature, and it's a good feature, but it's just like...
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I don't think it really... Because I walk this fine line of like... Save your really good shit till the end. Yeah. That's where I kind of... I like... And I can even stand like a tease up at the front. I often say that, like, okay, here's an example. City Escape from SA2 has almost no grinding.
Yeah, you're like building your way up to these
Final
mechanics.
Rush is all grinding.
Yeah.
And there's a fundamental difference between the fun you have. Because the fun you have running around a city versus the fun you have grinding in space, where you're just like, they're both fun. I still have fun with both. I have fun messing around with this one more because it's such a spectacle.
Yeah.
This one is more down to earth.
I mean, Final Rush is #Don'tAtMe, the best stage in Sonic Adventure 2. #Don'tAtMe.
Again, it's hard to argue with that, but it's like, I'm just saying that, like, okay, here's what I'm saying. I don't want Final Rush as every stage.
Okay,
I don't want that high.
Just as a reminder, are you talking about the level design in Chaotix or the aesthetic? Because the level design doesn't exist in the entire game.
No, the aesthetic. The aesthetic of like the colors and everything.
All right,
like having like, because you feel this grandiose thing of adventure where you're like, oh my gosh, we're in space and we're doing all these things, and like, oh my gosh, we're in a music park and it's nice, and it's like, okay, but that's your entire aesthetic that can wear out.
Yeah, like Marina Madness is just like, oh, this is a harbor, and then everything else is like this weird like indoor amusement park crazy fucking nonsense. The other thing too is, I don't know if you know this, the level order in Chaotix is essentially random. There's 5 zones, 5 acts, and they get chosen at random, so you might get all of this stage all in a row, or it just might be all over the place. And because of that, because the levels are chosen in random order, they made the entire game baby dick easy. You'll notice that, like, you're struggling with the controls, but like once you get the controls down and you learn how to manage these characters, single or 2-player, there's like no obstacles in Chaotix. Yeah. Like, you just kind of go around, and the reason the levels are huge is because they didn't want the level to end instantly, especially when you have Charmy. If you play as Charmy, you just
win.
Beat the game, because other characters like Knuckles can glide. Vectors has like 1 air dash per jump off the ground. No, Charmy just he flies. Joel's really get it. I love him. I don't get it.
It's the problem with it's like the reverse of Tails in 2.
Yes.
Where it's just like, okay, what if you could just fly all the time? It's like, well, that doesn't really answer any problems.
Right. And they were smart to give Tails like a stamina meter and his flight's slow, and I like that because it makes it feel like this is kind of like your easy character, but the trade-off is, you might get some higher paths for better goodies, but you're not getting a faster time than Sonic. I think that works well. Charmy, it's just like, nope, I win, and I'm 6 years old.
That's. I mean, I put it in D. You put it in C.
Listen. I think it makes complete sense to put this in D, but I like Naoto Oshima's aesthetic so much, and I like Sonic CD so much that I put it in C. Now CD is definitely higher because CD is like a video game. Like Chaotix has like. I wouldn't quite say it's super frustrating. It's just there's like a learning curve. But like, what does the game do with the whole ring tether thing once you learn it? Nothing. Like, it's kind of interesting.
It's there because they.
But like, it's like they saw this as a bad idea and they were like, okay, but we're gonna do everything we can with it. And like, yeah, you did do everything you can with it, which is not much. And then you made a game with giant, easy levels because there's nothing to do with this mechanic, you know?
That to me is why, another reason why I just can't give it that much of a pass. Because I can understand having a gimmick. I can't understand when you don't explore everything about that gimmick, or if it's just a bad gimmick. It's just like, why?
But
here?
because the game, let me be clear. This is the first game on the list I haven't played because it hasn't gotten re-released. Like, it's not even in fucking Sonic Gems collection. Like the game with all the bad games. It's never gotten re-released a single time. If you don't have this on 32X and you're not emulating it, you're not playing this. That's weird to me. But I just want to point out one more thing. That do you know about Heavy and Bomb?
I know about Bomb. I forgot Heavy.
Heavy and Bomb, for the uninitiated. Whatever character you're playing as, before you select a level, you select your partner, which is also kind of randomized. It's like a claw machine, but the characters are scrolling, so like you have to kind of time it. And if you don't time it well, then you just get like a random fucking whatever. So you have Knuckles, SPO, Charmy, Vector, Mighty, and then you have these two joke characters that are like your friends, and they're gonna help you, and they're called Heavy and Bomb. And Heavy is just a big fucking clanky robot, and he can't even jump like 2 inches off the ground. He just weighs you down and slows you down. He's a living weight. And then Bomb can explode and hurt enemies. It also hurts you. I just love that, like, canonically these are two of Eggman's minions, and Eggman's like, hey, I'm waiting on Metal Sonic to do shit. Can you guys just like slow them down a little bit? And then they go up to like the whole Chaotix game like, hey, we want help. I think it's just great.
Oh my gosh.
I think Heavy and Bomb are better than fucking Deco and Boko. They're better than Scratch and Grounder. They're better than Orbot and Cubot. And I will not hear otherwise because I know I'm right. Hashtag don't at me. That's the name of this entire fucking show. It's hashtag don't at Drew.
Don't at Moon Drew.
But yes, it makes sense to put this in D tier. I just I like the stupid games too much. Oh, that's what I was gonna say is just like Chaotix is not as mechanically frustrating to me as other games. It's stupid. It's definitely stupid. But like other games will fight me with like the controls and stuff. Chaotix, you can learn it. It's not like the game's glitchy or anything, it's just awkward. But other games have given me more trouble, so I figured, Chaotix, if I played it, I could probably get down in an hour, and then, like, I can just play the game to enjoy the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Other games don't have good control or atmosphere, so I think that was enough to put in C.
Now, Sonic R.
D tier.
I put E.
That is fair.
I originally had it in D tier, but then all I wrote for it is has great soundtrack, but it's an awfully slow game with terrible cube graphics.
It is insane to me that because you can play this game single player or multiplayer.
Yes.
So it's like a platformer, but it's also a racing game, like single player, but it's also a multiplayer racing game. Even if this game weren't multiplayer at all, and you didn't have to worry about that, about how players will interact with each other, the character imbalance is like, how is this game real?
Here's one fast character, and the rest suck.
Yeah.
Who are you going to be in this race?
Because, like, it's bad enough that Amy and Egg Robo are, like, and even Eggman are, like, so much worse than, like, Knuckles and Metal Sonic, right? But then, like, the Metal characters in Tails Doll are just, like, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, but more and also faster. And then you get Super Sonic, and nothing in life matters anymore. And if you're playing... First of all, if you're playing single player and you have Super Sonic, like, yes, you've had to work for it by, like, unlocking all the Chaos Emerald gates and stuff. You know, like, sure, whatever. It's stick easy, yes. And then you want to play multiplayer with your friend Sarah, and you pick Super Sonic because you got dibs first because you own the Saturn, and she picks, like, oh, my favorite character's, like, Eggman.
Yeah.
And then she never talks to you again, and you wonder why.
and then 18 years down the road, you say, like, hey, whatever happened to, like, us hanging out? It's just like, well,
Sonic R happened.
Yeah.
And then you start singing Back in Time because you think it's contextually relevant, but she didn't like the soundtrack, so she punches you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Work it out, work it out.
So Sonic Advance.
Whoa! No. What are you talking about? Advance?
What?
Adventure.
I know, I just have them listed weirdly.
Yeah, you do, dude.
Sonic Adventure. I obviously have a close personal connection to this game, and I'm trying to remain unbiased.
Oh, okay. Real quick, I put it in D because, like, E is like trash. Okay, so, like, D is like trash, but, like, you know, there might be redeeming qualities.
For Adventure?
No, Sonic R. Dude,
I was about to
Sonic
say,
1,
what the hell are you
Sonic
talking
Adventure
about?
1 is not D tier.
I was about to say.
If I put Sonic Adventure 1 in D tier ever, you kick me out of the house and never talk to me again.
I was about to say, like, this sounds crazy to me.
Sonic R I put at the top of D tier.
Okay.
It's exclusively because of the aesthetic, and, like, this is Sonic's first real 3D outing. It doesn't mean it's good, but, like, it's an interesting time capsule of a fucking horrible idea for a racing game. The aesthetics alone, just like you see, like, Sonic E zones in 3D, and, like, the music is really weird, but, like, really good. That's the only reason. Like, if, you know, the characters are racing were good, I'd put it in C, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Sonic Adventure 1, I put in B tier, and this is where we might start fighting, but I want you to hear me out.
Okay.
Remember that I said I ranked these games by how I think they get closest to the ideal Sonic game. I enjoy Adventure 1 more, okay? I think it's just barely under 2. Like, I would pick Adventure 1 over Sonic 2 any day, but Sonic 2, and I know it's what everyone says, but, like, you gotta drive it home. Sonic 2 might have fucking Metropolis Zone, it doesn't have fishing. It just doesn't. Like, if the Sonic game includes fishing, that's like an instant minus 500 points. I think I almost like Adventure 1 more than most people, but I'm not gonna let it slide with shit like that. I'm just not. I love Big.
Yeah.
I love the character. He's actually really one of my favorites, and I think it's really sad that, like, up until very recently, he was, like, blacklisted from the franchise.
Yeah.
Like, once 06 happened, which he wasn't even in, it's like, oh, Sonic's friends don't exist!
Yeah.
And even when others would come back, Big's not in Generations at all. That's a celebration of his history. You know? But, like, fishing, like, you look up interviews of why there's fishing in Sonic Adventure 1, and the interviews say, oh, because we wanted to advertise this new fishing game on the Dreamcast and this fishing controller. That's not a good reason.
No.
Because that's not a vision for Sonic, that's a vision for Sega.
Yeah.
Sonic should not be a vision for Sega, it should be its own identity, right?
Yeah. It's that kind of thinking is like Wii and Switch logic to me, where it's like, okay, well, this game is for the controller. It's like, no one fucking cares.
Right.
1-2 Switch, who fucking cares? It's like,
but it's worse to me when it's like part of a game and not an entire game, because then it's like the rest here is fine, and then this feels so much different.
That's why a lot of people have trouble with the
Like, it's a wonder to me Big even has a fucking jump button, and it's like, old, then you realize, you know, the hub worlds, but like, you know.
It's why a lot of people have trouble with Mario Odyssey in a lot of regards, where you can't just press the throw Cappy button 3 times to do a spin. You have to move your Joy-Cons or spin and wind up and then throw the cap.
Right.
When you could just press the button 3 times and have.
Right. Needlessly complex. And in the case of Big, again, I think like, you know, at least Mario throwing the hat in a circle, that feels like a cool thing for the platforming and the combat. Big fishing, why is that here? Why is that here?
Yeah.
That's even beyond a slow level like Labyrinth Zone or whatever. On top of that, man, this is the first time in a platformer that Amy's playable. Bro, I like the idea of using a hammer to get more height. I think that's super cool. Yeah. And they capped her at 2 miles an hour. What the fuck?
There is a workaround. There is a workaround to her speed. If you jump and you're leaning forward on the joystick, you land at her top speed.
But why does there have to be a workaround?
Exactly.
Right.
But I'm saying there is a workaround.
And
so that's what people do.
I will keep that in mind the next time I play the game. But and I feel mixed on Tails and Knuckles too. Like,
Tails, you can just kind of blast through his stages.
But I'm glad that he's fast. They could have so easily made him slow, and they didn't, and I respect that. Even if I think his airtime is like, that's way too much.
They gave him a lot of leeway.
But you know what? Like, even if the races are like dog piss easy, like, I don't know, it still feels like Sonic. I don't think it's great, but it feels like Sonic, and that's got to be your baseline for me. Knuckles. We're gonna get into this in a little bit. I'm not huge on treasure hunting. However, while I don't think it feels super Sonic-y, Knuckles is as fast as Sonic. And they let you get that speed. The level design doesn't really utilize it aside from big spaces, but at least you feel like Knuckles is a Sonic character, and having him hunt for stuff is a really good idea for this character you have back in the 90s 2D platformer that glides and climbs walls and like digs and stuff. Like, that's a really good idea for him to be in the 3D platformer like that. Yeah. So I'm not gonna say the treasure hunting's trash. I'll say that later, because in this game they had this idea where there's 3 things you're looking for and you have a radar, but it can pick up more than one thing at a time, because that makes fucking sense. Oh my fucking god.
Just get into it.
And then Gamma just doesn't really feel like a Sonic character at all. However, what I love about Gamma, you know, a little clunky, the speed and momentum isn't really a focus like it is with the other big 3. However, the time limit. I think the time limit encourages that speed running kind of spirit in a player, because the first time you play a stage, you're just like, oh god, I gotta do this right. And then later on, you're like, but I want to be better. And I think that speedrunning spirit is a very important part of Sonic. I mean, half the reason Sonic 1 is a thing is the people who worked on it were like, what we really like about Mario 1 is that you have a run button. Like, that's crazy to us. But what if the game was really, like, built around that concept rather than just, like, a nice feature?
Yeah.
So, to me, how well you can speedrun a game, how addicting it can be, what the game does for you, to, like, teach you the mechanics to speedrun, the rewards you get for it, I think that's a somewhat important thing to consider for a Sonic game. Not as much as the rest of the core design, but, like, you know, it's up there. And if you're not gonna feel like Sonic, the least you can do is, like, light a fire under my ass. You know, so that's why I enjoy Gamma. Also, he doesn't feel unnecessarily slow and clunky. I'm gonna get a fucking bounty on my head for Sonic Adventure 2.
You know what? Don't worry about it, because you're about to hear what I have to say.
About Adventure 1 or Adventure 2?
Adventure 1.
Alright.
What did you rank this?
I ranked it in B. It is just a hair under Sonic 2.
I give it an A.
Okay.
Giving this game the easy A rank, while it's certainly cheesy and kiddish in many regards, The soundtrack and level design is next level for a 3D game, A rank. I'll go into that a little bit because I have a lot to say. And I'm not going to shit on you. I hear you, and I hear exactly everything that's wrong with this game. And I get it. I cannot deny how fun it is.
It is very fun.
It is so ball fuck dick fun that every time I turn on the game I want to beat it.
Yes.
Every single time I turn it on I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like Sonic takes you through all 10 stages.
Yeah. 10 out of 11. Fake fan! Fake fan!
Well,
I know Hot Shelter is very memorable.
yeah, exactly. It's so great. But when I look at the game as a whole, obviously it's very, very basic in terms of like story, what's going on. I like that that you not only unlock characters as you go throughout the way and meet them in the story, but as you play their parts, you understand why they're doing what they're doing. You understand how they got to where they are, and you understand. And even like sometimes when you're Sonic, you'll walk around the city and you'll just see Big. What you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's just saying like, oh, I need my frog. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Then you play Big Story and you're like, oh.
It feels so organic, that kind of storytelling.
And it's something I miss because it's so. I've already said that like I'm viewing these games as if I were to pick it up, what am I taking away from it? I don't think there's anything I could put down about this game. I absolutely acknowledge everything you do, or that you said. Mm-hmm. Treasure hunting isn't that great. Amy is slow and clunky. Why is there fishing in this game? Tails, he has too long a time to fly. But those don't really bother me.
Right.
I know what Sonic is, and I get those Sonic stages. The rest feel like add-ons to me, where I'm just kind of going through the motions for their story. Where it's like, because when I play Amy, she has 3 fucking stages. That's not
interesting.
That's not anything that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for, oh my gosh, it's the Amy game. I'm not getting that. Right. I'm getting the Amy's side of the story, how she befriended that robot, why is she close to this bird, what the fuck. And granted, it's not like stellar storytelling, but I'm viewing it as like an add-on because I've already played Sonic Stages. He goes through, he becomes part of the story, he beats Eggman. Get it, got it, good.
Yeah, okay.
Tails is working to try and be the hero he wants to be, and he ends up defeating Eggman after Sonic has already defeated him. And he's like, Eggman is just like, well, screw it, I'm gonna still destroy Station Square anyway. And Tails is just like, I'll be the one to stop you.
Yeah.
Knuckles, his only goal is to get all the pieces of the Master Emerald. He doesn't care about this shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about chaos, he doesn't care about anything else. He just wants to get the Master Emerald restored. Once he does it, he's done.
Yeah.
Amy is obviously chasing after Sonic. Big, dumb story, but it's like, it takes like 10 minutes. It's really like, if you know where you're looking, it's not hard to do.
And I do really like the idea of a character that is just in the middle of all this stuff and has no idea what's going on. Oh yeah, and I like that you can just kind of just happen upon him. Like as you're Sonic running through this field, you're like, oh, what's this fucking house doing here? And you realize it's big. So it's like, oh, I didn't know, but that's cool. That's I just see that. And the same with the power-ups that you find, like as Tails without the jet booster on your shoes, you're significantly more shitty when it comes to the speed of your flying. Yeah. With the jet boosters, much more faster. You're kind of like rewarded for your exploration. Right. It feels like you did that. Right. And E102, I think, is just a fun character because it kind of deals with the whole aspect of I've always wanted to play, like, I never thought of how the robots were thinking throughout this whole thing, and I didn't think that was important. But then I see this robot and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really feel for this guy. He's just going through the motions, and you can see his blank face, and it's like the ultimate Kuleshov effect, where you're just looking at him and he's just like blank
pure blank face, but you know exactly what he's thinking.
And Gamma's so cool too, because even besides like the whole like Gamma kind of dies, obviously the bird lives on, so
obviously.
But Gamma kind of recontextualizes every other game you've played before this, because in Sonic 1, like what makes Sonic 1 such a different story from like Mario is like, oh, Mario's got to save the girl from the evil king. Sonic 1 has so much more flavor, and it feels very 90s in that like it's science versus nature, or at least the misuse of technology.
Yeah.
It's not technology bad, right? Like when you get a good future in Sonic CD, it's nature and technology in harmony.
But there's still like a cosmic park. There's still like boats and shit and everything.
Yeah.
It's not versus. It's just this is what happens when.
Yeah, these are two aspects of the world, and this is what happens when they are out of balance, when they're not handled with respect equally, right? But Gamma recontextualizes all the little animal buddies you've been saving. Like, you play a Sonic game and you bust open these robots, and little animals come out, you get to the end, you save a bunch more. It's like, oh, that's really weird and wacky. But Gamma makes you realize how fucking horrifying that is. Eggman's capturing all these woodland creatures and making them into robotic killing slaves.
Not only that, but
and Gamma makes you feel the emotional way. It makes you feel the impact Eggman's had on the world every single time he tries some stupid bullshit.
It starts right off the bat, because right up front he's like, fight your brother.
Yeah.
Because I want to see which one of you is better.
Right, even that is just like, oh, what?
And you're just, and like, as a character, you're just like, that's weird, but as Gamma, you're not thinking about that because you're just a robot. But then as you go along and you realize, oh, wait, because
you're right there with Gamma, that you don't understand just how weird it is until later on.
It's that moment when he's flying through. The egg carrier has just sunk.
Yes.
Well, not sunk. It's floating on the water.
He's getting the flashbacks.
And he's getting the flashbacks, and not only that, but he's like, I'm deleting my primary objective. What I want to do is, you think he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill my brothers. But it's so much more. It's like, no, I want to free them.
Right, because they're not the robots; they're the animals inside.
And the very end is one that always gets me, and I always get emotional during, because you're like,
all of us, man.
At first, you're thinking, "Fuck this beta fight," because it's on a time limit. It's on a time limit, and it's annoying.
I forgot it was on a time limit.
Yeah, and I've more than once died during it, and just like. It's just sit down, fall. It's just
jazz, though.
It is. It's excellent. But when you beat him, Beta goes down, but not before shooting you.
Right.
And you're kind of like limping along, but you see in the explosion the bird fly, and you're like, fucking weird. What was that? And then it just appears. It's like right in front of you, and you can tell that bird knows. There's one of it in you, and you're just like, and then you just see Gamma kind of just like, then he like snaps and immediately just falls.
Yep.
Because he knows he's like, to be truly free, I have to let them out.
Yeah.
And he's gone, and like, it's a bit weird how they edit it, but it's like as the frame is turning black when the bird is looking back, the other bird comes into frame,
right.
And you're just like. And you realize those were the same birds in Flicky's image.
Yep.
And you're just like, I can't say enough how they did not need to do that.
Right. But they did it because they wanted to tell a cool story that had basis in Sonic's world, but expanded on it in a new way. Like, it's insane how they hit on the park.
And any other game that would have been dick ball boring.
Yes, it would have. It would have been like all the cutscenes would have been very like one note, right?
Mm-hmm. Like okay, here's
they all would have been extra sad and extra expository. Like obviously, there's a lot of cutscenes in Sonic Adventure, but like it all feels very natural, you know? Like it's very kind of hammy and cheesy delivery, just like the rest of the game. Not all of it is treated like a sob story necessarily, but it's giving you just enough tone and time to respect it.
The one of the things I actually want to bring up is we already brought it up, but I want to slow point it. when he's having his like existential robot crisis and he's going through the 4 images, what are those 4 images? Eggman, Amy with Flicky, his brother's basically being disposed of, and Beta. All things he knows, all things that live in this world. But he saw how Eggman treated them. He saw what Eggman did and he said, deleting my memory. And he realigned himself to be like, I need to be the hero and save them because no one's gonna do it. No one knows where these fuckers are but me. I have to go do it. So he's going out getting damaged beyond all belief and then has to fight Beta, the superpowered version of him. And it just, that's what he has to do. And he feels that. And I'm just like, you as a character, as a player, you feel that because as the robot, you know he doesn't really feel it as much as he does. He gets it.
He understands.
He understands, okay, this is my role, I'm gonna choose it. And it's like, combined with all the Sonic levels, and despite how shitty everyone thinks they are, the Sonic, Tails, Amy, Big, I still get a kick out of just a different gameplay. Then that Gamma story on top of it, and then the end, when you realize, oh, not only is it that, but you have to take care of nature in order to supply it.
Yes.
That's where I rank this game in an A. Because it's like, it has too many concepts that are ingrained in my head from when I played it as a kid where I'm just like, I can't not enjoy this. I can't not look at this and say, oh, well, the spin dash is broken in this game, or sometimes you clip through a wall. It's like, yeah, but I'm being thrust into the adventure.
Yeah. It is a Sonic adventure.
Exactly. And you look at it and you're like, oh, Tails Adventure? What's this going on? What? I don't know. Fuck it. I'll partake in this. I'm not too into it, but hey, whatever.
Oh, I thought you meant the Game Gear game.
No. No. I was saying like.
But no, he's got bombs. He's fighting these like bird army, and he's got a robot dog that can go through small tunnels that he can't fit through.
Sounds like the Boom game a bit.
Later. So, listen, if I ranked these based on how much fun I had, the way you are essentially, this would absolutely be A tier.
Yep.
Sonic 2 is nothing on this shit in regards to my fun with it, but I think Adventure 1 is not as close to the Sonic experience because it is so interesting that you view Sonic stories kind of basically like the core and then everything else is an add-on because like
it's all shorter.
And I can't say that's not true. I can only tell you my perspective, and we know how fucking stupid and obsessive and weird and neurotic my perspective is because you guys have listened to my ramblings on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You know that I like being stupid. But to me, I guess it's like, you know, kid me boots up this game. This is one of the first Sonic games I'm ever playing, right?
Yeah.
And you see Sonic, and there's 5 other spaces. And you play through Sonic's game, and it's 10 stages long. And you don't know it yet, but that's the most fun part of the game. It's like, there's 5 more of these? This game's gonna be crazy! And then Tails is like, well, that was pretty good. And then Knuckles is like, that was pretty good. And then you get to the other 3, and Gamma's great, but you probably play him last.
Yeah.
You get Amy and Big as like...
It's such a tonal shift.
Like, story-wise, I love this stuff, right? Like, this helps the game feel like a more cohesive world. And I love Amy, and I love Big. But gameplay-wise, like, I'm only glad they're shorter because they're not fun. And that's a horrible thing to think. So it's because of that stuff that I feel like if I am basing this tier list off of the best Sonic can be, the highest potential you can reach, to put Sonic Adventure 1 in A tier, knowing that there's fishing. There's a lot of bullshit I can say about Sonic Lost World, but I can't say they put fishing in it. And I don't care if it's Sonic Team or Sega. I don't care. it's in the game. I'm gonna judge it as a product I paid money for.
But Drew, they pay it off when you have to fish inside of Chaos's body.
Look, I know that's the sickest shit of all time. I know that's the best part of the game. You and I both know that. We played this game. We know how good it is. I know big fishing in Chaos for like actually 8 seconds is the best part of the game. My man knows. But I can't put it in A tier.
That's fair.
Because it's fishing.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad. Because it's not Sonic.
It's a fundamental...
Also, it's bad.
It's a fundamental diversion for you, which you're not into, and I get it.
But I do enjoy the story aspect.
No, yeah, I more, like I said, I view this as the consumer. I view this as, what if I just picked this game up and bought it and played it?
Right.
Never heard of Sonic before. Or rather, I've heard of the other Sonic games past before it, but I've not gone further.
And again, I'm really glad that we're considering both perspectives, right? Because there's never going to be one way to look at a game.
No.
So, as two people, the least we can do is provide two different perspectives that may have some overlap, but really do put different ideals at different orders of importance.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the best thing I can say is, to me, Sonic Adventure 1, and there's other cases like this where it's way more extreme. This I don't feel as strongly about. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 1, I think, is a better game than it is a Sonic game. I think it gets so much right with Sonic, and so much is just like, this is kind of questionable. Whereas, like, if Sonic as a franchise didn't exist and Adventure just came out, I'd be like, this is really good. And I like that there's gameplay variety because it makes the game feel, you know, like you don't get sick of it. Whereas, like, it's a Sonic game, so, like, I expect Sonic, and it's such an incredibly high start, and it just ends up faltering in the end. You know, Amy and Big aren't going to make me throw my controller out of the room, but it's like...
It's a slog.
Why?
Yeah, you feel it. You feel the like, slowly, like... It's like how the normal person just starts slouching. You're just like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here for this.
And stuff. How far are we? Did we hit the hour mark?
We hit the hour mark.
How far are we?
We're an hour and 30 in.
Bro, and we've covered how many games? What,
like 10, or not even 10.
7?
Yes.
Oh, this might beat out Super Smash Brothers. That makes me so fucking happy. Because if any show we do is gonna be like Mike Tyson Dick Long,
oh my god,
it might as well be this, and then we never have to do it again. So, do you want to take a break?
Let's take a break. Sonic Adventure 2 is the game of all time.
No, I wouldn't say that.
The good game of all time.
Not the best game, the good game of all time? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's the best game. We're getting right into it. S rank, don't even bother trying to tell me otherwise.
I didn't think we were gonna fight this soon.
Don't even try. What is your answer?
Okay, so, again, my enjoyment is A. I rank it in B tier. So it's the highest of the B tier so far, and I think it's quite a bit above Sonic 2. There's like a small gap between Sonic 2 and Sonic Adventure 1. Sonic Adventure 2 is pretty high above both. But, like, here's my thing. Like, I remember when I said Sonic Adventure 1, like, removed from Sonic, it feels like a cohesive experience. It feels like a better, its own thing than it is a Sonic game. I feel like with Sonic Adventure 2, it's exaggerated. Because what is Adventure 2 but Adventure 1 just more streamlined, right? Yeah. It feels like a more focused Adventure 1. It doesn't really add anything super detrimental. It makes some tweaks that some people might argue Adventure 1 does better, but, you know, the crowd's always 50-50 on that. There is no, like, new Big's fishing about Sonic Adventure 2.
There's no stilted Amy play.
Right. They took arguably the three most fun, I think what are the three most fun gameplay styles in Adventure 1, Sonic, Knuckles, and Gamma, and see, I was gonna say refined, and then I think about, I'm sorry. Like
There are upgrades and there are degrades.
I want to say that Adventure 2 is the best Sonic game, and like I just don't think that's the case. But I think Adventure 2 is a very focused game. I really respect it for just making it really feels like a bigger adventure than Sonic Adventure 1.
What strikes out to me, well, not strikes out, what actually works for me is that it feels like a much more polished game.
Yes.
It is very clearly, except for the mouth movements.
I mean, yeah.
But very clearly it is a lot more polished and a lot more focused. And what I can't deny is Hero Story is only, that's the first one available. Only by beating Hero Story you unlock Dark Story.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Am I fucking crazy? I feel like as soon as I bought Adventure 2, you could play either.
The copy I had, it was Hero Story then Dark Story.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I remember it. And you play the Hero Story, and you're just like, okay, City Escape, perfect. I don't know what's going on. Sonic's on an adventure. I'm along with him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that the whole narrative works, because there is kind of exaggerated craziness going on, like where it's like, okay, here's Sonic, Knuckles is here, Tails is here, they're doing this. It's like, okay, it all works. Except for the racing.
It's 2 levels, it's fine.
But I'm just saying, like, it's notable. But, I can't hate how detailed they made this gameplay, because Sonic's is such a joy to get through. Knuckles is too creative for me to hate. And, Tails, what I later learned, and this kind of went with me aging up, was like, it's fun to lock onto so many targets and hit them all at once, which is a weird thing, but like, it's not the focus of his gameplay, I get it. But I would say probably easily the mech stages are my least favorite. That's just personally. I love the treasure hunting stages because they are set pieces.
They are.
And they're beautiful.
They feel more atmospheric, don't they?
Not even atmospheric. Like, I mean, you can look directly at comparisons of Dry Lagoon and
Wild Canyon.
And Wild Canyon. They're built almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
They are. There's 2 land masses. There's one that goes up, or there's like a huge tunnel that goes up.
Yeah.
And you're in it. And like, the thing for me is, I can't hate any aspect of that, and there's too much creativity going on in both the stages, and every stage has a power-up in it. Every single stage has a power-up in it, and I appreciate that for especially something like this game, because you always are moving forward. And I don't get a lot of people, and I'm actually going to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. What is it you don't like about the treasure hunting stages?
Well, there's 2 things for me, and like you have to understand that treasure hunting, again, like I was kind of mixed on the idea that it was a thing in Adventure 1, but ultimately I was like, like in theory, I'm not sure this is how exactly I would have done Knuckles in our first 3D Sonic game, but like the concept and execution are good enough that I'm cool with it. So Adventure 2, they bring it back. It's like, okay, I don't need Knuckles to exactly have like Sonic stages, even if that's what I'd prefer, but the 2 things, it's like that you can't detect more than one thing with the radar at a time. Like, it's not that it's a huge change, but just once in a blue moon, not every time, because I don't want to exaggerate. Once in a blue moon, it could be the difference between clearing the stage in 3 minutes and clearing it in 9. If you just like forget about like one little nook it could be in, and then you come back, it's like, but I was literally right next to it, and it even showed up on camera and I just didn't see it. Maybe it was a little dark, you know. Again, that's not going to happen every time you play a Knuckles stage, but it happened to me just a handful of times. It's like, sure, just a handful within a couple years, that's not a lot. This never happened in Adventure 1. So like, why make the change? That, and this game introduces ranking systems. I know some people are mixed on it. I think it works great for Sonic because it works in tandem with the fact they're trying speedrunning these stages. And they dock you points for using hints, which I wouldn't mind if the stages weren't this big. I'm okay that the stages are this big. But if they're this big, I feel like it takes a little while to memorize everywhere the emeralds could be, especially when the radar can't pick up more than one thing at a time. So it's just kind of like this little trickle down effect of like, okay.
So, can I just, before because I agree with you that those are indeed negatives. Here's how that gameplay taught me to get better. First off, I stopped using hints. Okay, I liked using hints before, but I'll try and do without them.
And I'll admit they are a crutch that I fall on.
Yeah. Something that I find way more fun that the game actually encourages, which is actually a credo to your style of gameplay for Knuckles, is speed.
Yes.
Fly everywhere and do everything you can fast. Look, and the best example I could think of is Pumpkin Hill. You have 3 different rockets that'll shoot you up and basically give you a range of what the mountains are like.
Yeah.
And you go up the Pumpkin Hill, it's not there. Go up this one, not there. Church, oh, it's there. Now, that's not always going to happen, but I found it happening enough times to where I always at least got 1 emerald in under 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And the stages, especially the early ones, aren't that big. Aquatic Mine is definitely a bit more confusing.
Right, but it's not huge.
Not huge, but it definitely is a labyrinth. I can understand why it would be confusing for some. Lots of different paths and waterways to take. I can get that.
To me, I think Death Chamber and Egg Quarters are where it starts getting pretty big, and it's like, oh, okay. And then you get to the very last 2, Matsbase and Meteor Herd, where it's like, I like this. It's like a 3D space.
Those are
but
definitely
this
the game
is,
turning
this
it up.
is really pushing it for me. Again, especially since I already didn't jive with it as much.
But again, it's rewarding you for your speed. There is a strict path you can go down in Meteor Herd that takes less than 30 seconds and will shoot you to the top of the stage.
Yeah.
So you can get there and then fly down and kind of get a lay of the land of what's going on. Another thing I like is that there is as well as there is a gliding to kind of look around and see what's up, there's a drill power.
Yes.
That quickly gets you down.
Drops you. Yes, which is great.
Mm-hmm. I wish, too, that they did the multiple emeralds at once type thing. I don't know why. Maybe that was a streamlining thing. Maybe it was too easy. Because they're not enormous levels, but it's... Another thing is that when I get close to an emerald where it's blinking, you'll notice when you're really close, exclamation point above your head.
Yes, which does also help.
Yeah, and so I can't imagine. It's like they're giving you every crutch that you can possibly lean on before you just have to realize, like, I need to get better. Right. And to where you think I need to get better whenever you're like playing a 2D Sonic game, this is where I feel I need to get better, because I'm like, okay, 3D, I can see the mountain over there. I know where it is. I have to get there, get a lay of the land, and be like, okay, next place.
Yeah.
And again, I understand that it's different for all people, but when I was a kid and picked this up, I couldn't hate it. I couldn't look at this and say like, oh, that's not the gameplay I want.
Yeah.
For me, it's exactly what I want. It's because Sonic, leave him the speed stuff. It's like Sonic Heroes Divisions, where you're just like, okay, this is Sonic stuff. There's no really flying for Tails, it's more mech stuff. But then there's the other stuff, which is just emerald hunting. It's like, these are the three. And the heroes and the villains have 3 characters dedicated to those things. And it's just like, plus a nice distraction, but sometimes some people say it's too much of a distraction, the Chao world. Yeah. I view it as a nice little distraction. I don't think it's super important. It obviously isn't.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of depth there, and it's cool that they put that in.
Yeah, and it's just like I can't view anything about this game that I would hate.
Right. There is nothing about SA2 that I hate. Let's make that clear. And again, I think it pretty much is just Adventure 1 but better. There are aspects I prefer about SA1. And when playing my favorite parts of each game, it's like, which one do I want to play? Ooh, well, it's kind of it's a 50-50. As a whole, I'd rather play SA2, right? I think that's pretty obvious. But I think the reason why, like, everything you said about the philosophy of wanting to master treasure hunting stage is on the fucking money. Like, I cannot have phrased it better myself. And the reason I couldn't have, and the reason that I never went as far as to try and master those stages the way I would with even the mech stages and, Sonic and Shadow, is because, why I like the mech stages more I can't really say, because that feels less like Sonic than Knuckles and Rouge do. But I think just even really early on as a kid, like, I had the adventure games and I had Mega Collection, so I had the classic games. I had them all at once, and I didn't really take them in like one after the other. I like played a little bit of each, and I'd like go in circles with like that and Heroes and Shadow. I had like every fucking GameCube game all at once. So I learned more about them in bits and pieces, and that kind of helped form what I think about which game. And I wonder if I wouldn't be so hard on the treasure hunting and mech stages if Sonic 3 hadn't had Tails and Knuckles really just play like Sonic. If those games hadn't had the chance to show them that they are pretty much like Sonic, and then Adventure starts experimenting, maybe I wouldn't feel so strongly. But it's like Sonic 3 shows that you can take this route, and they chose not to. And while that's not horrible, it feels less Sonic-y. Again, like Sonic Adventure 2, I think is an extremely cohesive experience on its own. Like the way that the 3 different stage types all encourage you to get, good time and good scores. They all encourage you to get, animals and Chao drives for the Chao Garden and start A-ranking missions and stuff. Like, as a whole, the game is like, there's so much thought put into how it all works together. But there are some things that fundamentally to me do not feel as Sonic-y as they could.
And not to cut you off or anything, but when you say Sonic-y, I think you're speaking more to a core problem, which is it might be that you played Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and you had the characters to play as, and you now have an expectation for those characters. My expectation is the adventure games.
Yes.
And that's why they fit more for me, because I don't want them to be like Sonic. Sonic is Sonic. Why do I need a reskin?
Right.
My philosophy is that Tails should be different. Knuckles should be different. It's what makes them unique characters. It's what makes them special. It's why I like their stages. You can't drop Sonic into Pumpkin Hill and tell me that's a good stage. You can't drop Knuckles into... But to counter that, you can't drop Knuckles into...
like City Escape.
Let me rephrase this, actually. You can't drop Sonic with a Knuckles skin into City Escape and tell me that feels just as same as playing as Sonic. And that it works.
Yeah.
I think that style of gameplay, the speed specifically, I think that's more suited for Sonic and the kind of like crazy kid vibe he's going for. Tails, because he's smart, because he's an engineer, because he does all these things, I feel like he's appropriate with a mech. Same for Eggman, because he's smart, because he does that thing. Knuckles very clearly just wants to find the Master Emerald. He's not running through a stage to get to the goal ring. He's trying to find his pieces of the Master Emerald. Once he does that, he moves on.
Let me ask you this as a quick aside, because that's a really interesting perspective where you're taking the story and the premise more into account. So if there's a Sonic game, hypothetically, where Knuckles has the same goal as Sonic, is reach the goal because we're chasing after Eggman, and he's not looking for individual pieces of something. And that game just had Knuckles going through his own stages that were tuned to his abilities, that weren't just Sonic's. They account for the wall gliding and the climbing and stuff, but they don't involve treasure hunting. It is a more kind of linear, kind of like you have the high, middle, and low route level. Would that disappoint you, even if the story took that into account? And there's no wrong answer here. Obviously.
I mean, viewed in a vacuum, all I can say is no, it wouldn't disappoint me. I like the treasure hunting style of gameplay. That's my personal preference. But I think what the glaring problem is to me is, why would you give the same type of gameplay to someone that's not? And I know what you're about to say. It's like, I know that you said you factor in his wall climbing and his everything. Unless it's like, here's the only way I could see that working. If Sonic went through the stage, and then Knuckles went through the stage, then you start finding all these little things that Sonic missed. Something that kind of, because I don't know why you would split that up. I don't know why you would
give Knuckles a separate stage completely, and that feels more like it should be for Sonic. Well, I've got two games for you, Sonic 3 and Sonic Mania, where all the characters do go through the same stages.
No, but I mean...
Did I misunderstand?
No, I just feel like... Because again, I'm not opposed to it. I just think the treasure hunting suits Knuckles more, because it's like when you have... It's like when you look at, like, dumbest example, but like the Scooby Gang. You're like, okay...
Huh?
Be with me on this. Be with me on this.
Okay.
It's not dumb. I quoted dumbest example. You have Scooby who can pick up scents. He's useful for that. You have Velma, who's the smart one.
I don't know. Daffy's got a sniffer.
Be with me. There's. I'd rather not. I'll just scrap the whole Scooby concept and just say I like when everyone has their own unique feel to them.
Right.
And there's the good side and bad side, and there's something to be said about that, where it's like, okay, Sonic fighting Rouge wouldn't be a challenge.
Yeah.
Fucking Rouge lose.
Yeah.
Like, Sonic fighting Eggman in this game would be fucking disappointing and bad.
Yeah.
I think it's very clearly like we're going for that contrast, which has been done a million times and will be continuing to do it a million times before. But I think that having everyone be different yet the same to their counterpart is great when you factor in that it all works together in the service of the story.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's why I agree with you on Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I fully agree that, yes, Knuckles can work in that regard. He fits perfectly.
Right.
I just prefer when there's more distinction and difference between the characters. Like, and we'll get into this later, but like, I don't feel like any game has really captured the way I view Knuckles since Sonic 2. Because,
for sure,
he's just tough guy now, and like, that's never what he was about. He was still fast. But he was like an adventurer, man. Yeah, like he was an adventurer. He's not just dumb, heavy. He could handle any terrain. He was a tough guy, but not a muscle guy. Climb, glide, and dig, and it's like, this is what he has to his power. And it's like, then they just throw all that out and there's nothing to do with it. It's like,
now he punches things.
Yeah, now he's just a heavy. And like, I give Sonic Heroes a pass for that because the whole point is speed, fly, power.
Right.
That's the point of that game.
But they went too far with it later on.
Yeah, they went way too far of just like, when you get to Sonic Boom and he's just the punch character.
Yeah, like Sonic 06 dumbs him down a little bit, but like it just gets way, way worse.
Yes.
It snowballs.
Yes. So that's why I think that, like, yes, in your circumstances that can work, and it can be argued that that's what people like. I would argue that it is more likable for them to be different and distinct because people like when characters stand out because they can go, that one's my favorite, that one's my favorite. That was me as a kid. I loved Knuckles and Rouge because they weren't Sonic. I loved Sonic and Shadow because they weren't Tails and Eggman.
Yeah.
And I liked that they had their differences, and yet even though they were similar, they still had enough differences going on to where they were still at each other's throats.
Yes.
They're just like, okay, we're competing. Who's the better one? It's and I think the game kind of is all about that. It's Sonic Adventure 2. It's two adventures of these characters going on these journeys to essentially prove who is better.
Right.
And it's like, to me, that's what I like about
and it fits together so well thematically. Yeah.
And not only that, it fits together so thematically well, but it's like, once you get to the end, I think you really see the improvements that they have all made, where it's just like, now we have to use all that we've done to be very good to the best of our knowledge. And you're just doing whatever you can just to get through the stage. And I want to close my statement here, but I want to say that I think character distinction is important because, again, that kind of gameplay for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where it's you can play as Sonic, you can play as Tails, you can play as Knuckles, that's fine. They will continue and have continued to do that through Origins and through all the other ones we're going to get into later.
Yeah.
I like it so much better when I'm not just feeling like it's a reskin.
Right. And, even if I prefer the other design philosophy, I don't think that the adventure games have a bad one. And it really is weird that, you play Knuckles, twice in 06, and then, they just never tried this again. Yeah. Until very, very recently with Frontiers. And even then, it's a little bit different and actually garbage. But we'll get into that.
But it's...
So I think it does hurt extra as an adventure fan, especially that they keep doing the Knuckles can just play any fucking Sonic stage, but they're not trying this other way that is more unique. And I can't say it's worse. It works especially well for a 3D platformer series.
I think Sonic Frontiers would have worked really well if there was no fan character, and if it was just the main characters.
Oh, Forces, you mean?
Forces, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Forces would have worked really well if there was no fan character and you just had a couple main characters doing their thing, and they're all different. You have Sonic stages that he does. Knuckles' stages that he does. Maybe he has to infiltrate a lair. Because that was another thing they tied into the story where it's like Eggman's keys.
I never even thought of Forces like that. That's really interesting.
That's what really pissed me off about that game, because it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we just going fast? I get it, but that's Sonic's thing. Why do I have to adhere to that? Why can't I go off on my own adventure? Why can't it be like Sonic Adventure where it's like, hey, get some fucking keys, get some, destroy some robots, build a giant Tails mech and go fucking crazy like the Divine Beasts and Hyrule. When Hyrule Warriors is better than your fucking Sonic game, come on. And I'm just looking at this shit and I'm like, this so easily could have been fixed.
It's the thing I'm thinking about too is even if they just had multiple playable characters but they all played very similarly, like classic style and Forces, that would have been better, because this again, we're gonna get into it, but there's such a fucking dissonance between the narrative and you when you play Forces, because the story is Sonic's been imprisoned. He's been defeated and he's been imprisoned for 6 years. As far as anyone else knows, he's dead.
Yep.
So you have everyone else banding together. You have Amy and Knuckles and the Chaotix and Silver's there and Rouge is there. And who do you play as in this game? 2 Sonics and you. What the fuck?
Something that I think is really important to look at in that specific environment. Again, we're going to get into this later. I know we're flying all over the place.
I want to get off Mr. Yuji Naga's wild ride.
Something I want to get into really quick. And you can shit on this later, but right now I'm going to point to it as a positive.
Mm-hmm.
When Sonic died in 06, what happened?
Everyone banded together.
Everyone banded together and used their skills to
Right.
get the fucking Chaos Emerald.
And as much as End of the World looks absolutely horrible,
Well, it's just a filter.
thematically,
Yeah.
it's great. In Forces, they tell you that everyone bands together, and you don't
never
show
see
it, which is 80% of the script.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh,
And then
friendship
Sonic
is
does
good.
everything else. And then the second Sonic shows up because Generation sold really well, and he becomes Tails' best friend. What the? Okay. 2017 isn't here yet.
We'll get there, but my main point is that
Is it insane how much a mediocre game can immediately make you brain rot?
yes, but the thing that really bothers me with Sonic Adventure 2 is people shit on these stages. And I get it. I wish they were improved too. But you can't hate them.
I can't.
Because it's like,
I can't.
do you want the same Sonic game for all your fucking life?
Right.
Because if you do, cool. Stay out of my lane.
Right.
I want some diversity.
Don't make that the only way Sonic can be.
I want some gameplay diversity where I can do some other shit instead of just go fast.
I mean, this might be an opinion that no one else has ever had, but it's almost like we could even have more than one kind of game in the series that fill these different niches, which is something that Sonic has been trying to do and has been failing at horribly. But
So weird.
like, bro, if they just like kept up the quality after Adventure 2 and just like made some good adventure games, made some classic games, made some good boost games, we wouldn't be having this stupid discussion.
No.
We wouldn't be doing a tier list because the difference in quality would not be the Grand Canyon, right? We'd be talking about all these different good games. Maybe a few, okay, mixed in. But no, we have to worry about Lost World, and we have to worry about Rise of Lyric, and we have to worry about Secret Rings. It's like, whoa, we could have just kept this real plain and simple, guys.
Another thing that I want to say just about Sonic Adventure 2 is I know that the first story gets a lot of weird credit for, like, as much as I like the fact that the gameplay kind of like, oh, you see that character just kind of hanging out. And you,
Oh, Adventure 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
Adventure 1, that's what I'm sorry, that's what I meant. As much as Adventure 1 is like that, I kind of like that this one's a bit more streamlined because you don't just run into these people. It kind of feels a bit more special because it's like, oh, they gotta fight. And I not only do I like that, but I like the fact that there is a story, you can follow it, and it has real stakes. And you, for me, I think it's just called boss storyline, I think, I'm not sure.
Last story.
Last story,
Yeah.
that's it, yes. For last story. So, when I get to that last story, it all becomes very, like, it becomes very real to me in a sense that, like, oh, you realize why Shadow existed and everything comes together in this full circle moment. I'm just like, I love this. And the music is pumping and everything, and I
know we haven't talked a whole lot about the story, and it's not like I want to do a whole recap, but the adventure games really give you an appreciation for Amy, who before is like this nothing character. Like, she shows up in CD for 2 seconds and she's in fucking Sonic Drift.
Mm-hmm.
But Adventure 1 shows that she's willing to come to terms with, this robot, right? Like, it's so easy to think of Amy as, like, just some annoying girl who likes Sonic, right? But, early on in the adventure games, that wasn't her whole character.
Yep.
we touched on this with Knuckles. Like, they Flanderize, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Amy, like, yeah, she loves Sonic, but she's not, like, a yandere stalker. She's just, like, a really big fan, and she's got a crush. And, like, he's basically a superhero. Like, why wouldn't somebody, right?
Yeah.
But she's still, like, she's not just a damsel in distress. Like, yeah, she's not as strong as Sonic, but she gets stronger. It's really a shame to me that she's not playable in Adventure 2, but, like, given how crazy that game's development was, I get it. At least she breaks Sonic out of prison. That's a great moment. And even though she doesn't get a whole lot of other screen time, it's nice that she gets to do something in the last story. And it's the turning point for the main antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy honestly makes his sacrifice feel like you guys nailed it, right? If he had reached that realization on his own, maybe it would have still felt good. But, like, okay, I admit that this is headcanon, but I like to think that Amy reminded Shadow of Maria.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, that really, that almost childlike optimism and love for the world.
I think that, I think a very easy way to look at the story is Shadow he doesn't have his full memory.
Right.
And the way he views it, this is helping the world.
Yeah.
And then
it's helping Maria, right?
Like helping Maria fulfill her wish. And then he hears Amy, and
because she was injustice.
It gets a trigger, and he's just like, her dream was not to end the world or like to rid it of evil. That was my job, is to be friends with the humans and not to cause chaos. And it's like, it works.
And it's true. Even with Gerald, like, he went off his rocker, but Gerald's original purpose, Shadow was made to help find a cure for Maria's illness. Shadow was made as the future for humanity.
Mm-hmm. And I just wish that throughout everything, people could appreciate the Adventure series a bit more. And granted, I may be ranking this too high. Maybe I'm kind of leaning into that nostalgia a little bit. I still just can't hate these games. I can't look at them and say that there's a flaw that I really get bothered by, or that there's like a gameplay mechanic that doesn't jive with me. It's like, when it's all in service of a story, or in service of just fun gameplay that doesn't divert too much, I just have fun with it. And like I like a lot of the extra stages where it's like, oh, collect 100 rings, fairly simple, depending on who you're playing as. Find the lost Chao, neat.
It just gets you to explore the stage.
Yeah, it takes you to just explore the stage, and it's like, that's exactly what I like. I like something that encourages me, rewards me for my exploration.
Yeah.
And the fourth one is usually like a time trial. Fifth one is like a hard mode.
Yeah, and those are good.
And it's like, you got 4, you got 3. Well, technically you got 5. You got the main stage, the collectathon, exploration, and so on. And it's just like, I can't. I wish Sonic games today learned from the Sonic games of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Because we have so many better games.
I wish they learned the right lesson. Right?
Yeah. Like, instead of just throw it all out and try something new, just build on what you had. Make these games to where they're serviceable for everyone. Zelda's been doing the same shit for 35 years. Until, like, Breath of the Wild, and then I was like, oh, this is a nice change of pace.
It was such a nice breath of fresh air, you know?
Yeah, not for everyone.
Right.
But it's a nice change of pace.
I'm glad they tried.
Yeah, it's like, and with the Adventure series, it's just, this is becoming a lamenting piece. I don't want it to go into that, but I'm just saying I can't put this anywhere than S rank, because the ideas it has, I think, are so good.
Yeah.
That's why it solidifies for me.
Well, if this can help you just better understand my perspective a little bit, again,
I understand your perspective. I completely get it.
My vision of Sonic does not involve quite all this, but I think SA2 in its execution, like, this game meets its goals. Adventure 1, I don't think meets quite all of its goals. It's very close. It's very close. But SA2 not only gets closer to realizing its goals, it's just more streamlined. I think in a vacuum, SA2 is an S-tier game. It's just not my ideal Sonic game. But, like, again, I can't say that it's super flawed. It's just there's stuff about I don't like. But, like, SA2's faults they're really not that big, man. Oh, Mad Space. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people. Often one of the biggest complaints I get is people don't like the ring dashings. And I get that because they're kind of, like, imprecise at times. But, I mean, they're not the worst.
Yeah.
They're still very reliable when they need to be.
That's maybe my biggest issue with the game is two-button syndrome, where one is jump and the other's everything else.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not a game breaker for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a deal breaker.
It's not the worst, and that's... I don't know. I just think it makes a more special game.
The one last thing I want to touch on with SA2 is there's a popular theory that goes around that I personally subscribe to, and I want to know what you think about this, if you've even heard it, but I'm just going to give a little name called mural theory. Okay. Do you know about this?
No.
So, Eggman in Sonic Adventure 2 mentions that Gerald has researched ancient civilizations, and you can even tell that he's been to Angel Island, right? Because of Chaos, right? He knows about the Chaos Emeralds and stuff, so he knows about Angel Island and its ancient civilizations. And there's a theory that he saw the mural in Hidden Palace, and he saw that spiky, yellow, heavenly figure with ultimate power, and he thought, wow, I wonder if that's kind of not it wouldn't be literal like this if this were like a cutscene, but like this is like this ancient civilization's idea of like what a god is, of what like the ultimate life form is. Mm-hmm. And then he starts experimenting, right? He's making life forms, and first he tries a lizard, probably because it's like, again, me reading into it, but like, oh, this is like an easy animal to experiment on, and it just like its life support systems aren't really working. It's a little too handicapped. It's a little too, like, this just isn't going anywhere. And then he's like, okay, well, what if I try and drew inspiration from somewhere else? And Shadow is meant to look like Super Sonic. Because Gerald doesn't know who Sonic is. He doesn't know who the ancients think that is. But like the hair specifically, that's why Shadow's hair is the way it is, I think, is because Gerald saw that mural. It's like, oh, Super Sonic. So it works well too, because Sonic is being charged for these crimes that he's never committed, and then he sees who the imposter is, and it just vaguely looks closer to his super form than Sonic does on his own, and it's like, what's going on? Interesting
little note. When the cutscene for them turning super happens in this game, it's not the same as every other super we've seen from Sonic. It's Shadow's hairstyle.
Is it?
Yeah. It's exactly Shadow's. It's one down, the other two up.
Oh my god, I've never noticed that.
It's only specific to the Adventure 2. I saw this the other day and I was like, what? And then I looked it up and I was like, that Bobby down.
Not to say that mural theory is confirmed or that these two are even linked,
but it does. It makes sense. I understand.
Man, SC2 really is Kino.
It has a lot of different intricacies that I can completely 100% do credit to, and I've heard a lot of people say like, oh no, people trying to say like, oh, Gerald wasn't all that bad. It's like, listen.
To start, sure, maybe.
Listen. He went psycho. It happens. It happens to characters. Yeah, I understand.
His niece got shot by the government he was working for years.
He literally says in his diary, I went insane.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And that doesn't mean Gerald was a good guy. That means he was human.
Yeah. It means he suffered a loss so tragic that he was like, fuck it. Fuck the world. Fuck you all. You took from me. I want revenge. And he kind of like programmed that into shit. He was like, fuck it, I'm changing this ultimate life form shit to being ultimate life form, and he knows what to do.
Right.
So it's just
and
I get
Shadow's story would not be the same without the influence from both Gerald and Maria.
Oh yeah.
Like, otherwise his motivations are just like, why do you want to destroy the world? Because you came up with that on your own? No, because you saw what happened to Maria too.
Yeah.
And you're going through what Gerald did. Man, it's a good story. Oh, yeah. Remember when we had good stories?
Rather than, oh my gosh, you're on a cyber world.
I love that you said this specifically because I was like, I could make fun of Force's story, but I could make fun of Frontiers too. Like, Frontiers isn't a bad story, but it's like, here's this premise, and then every cutscene is everyone, they just stand and for 12 hours, and then the end of the game!
Yeah.
Sonic, woo!
Big thank you, wow.
Hey, Big's the best part of Frontiers.
No, I meant like just big thinking. I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh, Big WoW.
Like, oh my god.
Big WoW is, that's Big super form.
Oh my gosh, but okay.
Man, how long did we talk about SA2?
45 minutes.
So this, ellipses, is the power of good video games. Bottom text.
Okay, well, we're gonna go and do a divisive one now.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Because chronologically, the next one's Advance.
Okay, we can.
But it's weird because it goes Advance, Advance 2, Heroes, Advance 3.
Do I just do all the advanced ones?
Yes. Do you want to do it before or after Heroes?
Do the advanced ones first. That's a good break apart from.
Correct answer, because I can't dive into cringe just yet.
So I don't have much of an opinion on the advanced games. They
are definitely the classic games too.
Simple Sonic platformer seems fun. I like the pixel version of the SA2 Sonic characters.
Yeah, I love that they use the modern sprites, you know?
It
makes the brand feel more cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Who said that?
Not a heavy story or anything.
Not at all. Bro, Sonic Advance 2 is Eggman kidnaps Cream's mom. Why? Vanilla is not another space god like Chaos.
He wanted some fresh baked cookies, and if he's gonna get them, he's a mom.
He's built his 97th space station, but he doesn't have a gas oven. You go through every Eggman base. Have you ever seen a kitchen? Oh my, update the fan wiki. Sonic News Network needs to know right now. And it's so good too because I thought you were just gonna go for MILF, but no. You put effort into it, and it shows, man. Fuck, it's funny. Eggman just kidnaps a mom because he innately understands that moms bake cookies, which is not a universal constant, but likely enough that he can bank on it.
Yeah.
And Vanilla's just what he sees.
And he can program a chef all he wants. It's not the same.
Oh.
It's not the same. He knows that it's missing that one ingredient.
E194. I love that even Eggman understands such human concepts and then tries mechanizing all the world's fauna for the 80th time.
Oh gosh.
You know what the best part is?
What?
Wait, am I thinking about this? Hold on.
What?
No, never mind. I for a second I was gonna say she gets kidnapped twice. That's not true.
Oh, okay.
But it's great too because like at the beginning of the game you don't even know like what Eggman's done. It's just another space station for literally no reason.
I know.
So it's really funny that like Sonic and company like are going after this little girl's mom and she tags along and then they just happen to find out like there's another. What?
Yeah,
Wait, so how did this tie in? And then Sonic goes into space and goes super and asks Eggman before the final hit, and he's just like, I was hungry.
He's just eating a cookie like...
Come on, Sonic, it's white chocolate macadamia.
And I like the ones with the little white chocolate chips. Those are nice too.
Even oatmeal raisin. Sorry, Eggman. Oatmeal raisins cringe. Man, that ending cutscene. I love how we skipped right from Advance 1 to Advance. But Advance 2...
Because it's the game.
It's a fan favorite for a reason. That final cutscene with the fucking music crescendo, where Vanilla's falling and Supersonic's just barely reaching after, and then their hands clasp. Man, that's... Wow.
That is a Sonic moment. He's being a hero.
With that said, the Advanced games are the first games made by a little studio called, and this is going to become a cuss word pretty soon, Dimps.
Yep.
And Advance's level design is pretty good. It's pretty close to the classics. Couple more bottomless pits and spike traps than I'd like.
The first game I gave a solid B, because I said it's solid but simple. To the point where it's like, yeah, okay, like I get it. I get that this is Sonic now on this new handheld stuff.
Yeah.
Like I totally get it. I'm not for it. I'm not, as we've discussed, I'm not super into 2D Sonic, but I like the new sprites. I like the new aesthetic they have going on. I'm just not into the gameplay style. I don't like spike pits and other shit.
It feels like occasionally there's an enemy that's just like in your way, and like even if you had like widescreen or something, like it's not something you would have seen coming. Like you go up the spring and there's an enemy there, and like, oh, you didn't immediately attack, that's on you, idiot. Now Advanced 1 doesn't have this problem quite as much as a little bit in Advanced 2 and especially Advanced 3. Which is really a shame because Advanced 3 tries, like, every partner combo has different attacks and stuff, which is like, that's cool in theory. I like that, like, it even matters who the leader is, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's differences between Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic.
Yeah.
But sometimes they take away character abilities. Like, when Knuckles is partnered with Sonic, he can't fly.
How different are you? You can't be that here.
Yeah. When Tails is partnered with Knuckles, he can't fly. And you can tell me some like, oh, well, Knuckles and Tails are talking before Toy Kingdom Act 2. And they're, they have a different, like, combat strategy in mind. No, that's not a good enough excuse.
Or you could say Knuckles is heavier, I don't know.
Yeah, it's nothing's
still
a good
loose.
Excuse. With that said, there are some really cool character combinations. And it's cool that, like, Sonic will make you faster if he's your partner. Cream will make you jump higher if she's your partner. There's a lot of cool stuff like that. So, like, some combinations are cringe and some are Kino. But the level design is the most dickish it is out of all the Advanced games. It's like, you had to pick now to start fucking around? Like, the first stage, there's just crushers. And, like, no, it's not the hardest thing in the world. It's not about the difficulty. It's not about the difficulty. It's about the fact that they're there at all. Like, there's an over-reliance on it. It just gets worse as the game goes on. And it's really sad. Advanced 2 is, like, the first time the series sees anything even remotely similar to, like, a boost. But I like it more than the boost because... Look, I love the boost games. You're going to hear me jerk my dick off to them all the time later on, but it really is... It usually feels like hold this button and you win. And the resources for the boost, whether it's rings or wisps or enemies, is so... You get so much of it that you never have to think about when you use boost. Okay. Whereas Sonic Advance 2, you maintain a high speed for long enough, and it's given to you, but now you have to hold on to it. You can't, like, turn it manually on and off. So, like, you hit an enemy, or, like, you just hit a wall, or you trip up and hit the lower, bottom end of the stage, and you lose that speed. So this game, more than any other, rewards you for the perfect run. And that is such a Sonic idea. It's great. Honestly, saying that, I put all the Advanced games in C tier. Advanced 3 near the bottom, Advanced near the middle, Advanced 2 in the middle, but higher. And saying that almost makes me want to just edge Advanced 2 into, like, the bottom of B tier. I might by the end of this. But it's that I think I judge the somewhat more dickish level design harshly, admittedly, because of that reason and a few small others, these feel like a bit of a regression from 3. Like, they do a lot of cool, interesting stuff, and I want them to experiment, but, like, you can't use super forms in regular stages. It's like the adventure games where it's just for a final boss. That feels like a regression of 3. Stuff like that. It's a lot of very, very small things. I can easily see people preferring Advance to the classic games, and I can't say that's wrong, but it's like, we had the level design figured out, and it wasn't like this in the adventure games either. You're fucking around.
Well, one thing I will say for Sonic Advance 2, what I wrote, first of all, for Sonic Advance, I think I gave a B. Mm-hmm. What did you give?
All of them are C.
All of them are
C for you? 3's the worst, 2's the best, Advance is in the middle, because it's kind of plain. Advance 3, I think, has the worst level design, but you can at least mess around with the character combo stuff. It's like with Chaotix and CD, where I think that kind of elevates the gameplay because it's interesting.
I'll just go over these really quick then. Sonic Advance 2. Cream, definitely much more distinct stages. Amy behind a collect emeralds wall.
Yeah, when in the first game she's not.
I don't know why.
It's so weird, man.
It seems way too repetitious. Sonic Advance 3, I wrote great atmosphere, unlock others as Sonic and team up with them.
I don't know why.
Gemerol?
Yes.
Story seems good, seems fun, I want to play. And I ranked it B because I was curious. So I've never played that game, but... Yeah,
the level design gets a little, again, between weird enemy placement, random spike traps, and Advance 3 in particular, not the other two, has the occasional segment where sometimes you just ride like a platform on a line like Mario style, and it takes you to the other side of something, and that's it. And again, not bad, but like compounded with all the other little things, it's like you've had 3 games to figure this out. Now this should be as good as Sonic 3, and it just kind of misses the mark. So I'm harsher on it, but it's not a horrible game. Now, Advance 2 with the special stages, not the special stages themselves, how you get them. You have to get 7 gold emblems all in one run. You have to know the path. Sometimes you have to backtrack, and you can't do it without losing a life. Jeez. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You also, to get Amy, you need all 7 Chaos Emeralds with all characters. No.
Yeah, I know.
It was bad enough with one character. I guess the last thing I want to touch on with the advanced games is how do you feel about how they incorporate Amy? Because she's very much supposed to be like her Adventure 1 appearance. She can't roll into a ball when she jumps up, you know?
It's...
Because I'm mixed on it. Like, I
am too, because it's like, I as I've stated before, excuse me, sorry, I like the differences. I like difference between characters, but when those differences don't do anything for the game, then you have a problem.
It's weird to me that Amy is like a hard mode, and like that's fine. I like it sometimes when a character is like more difficult than the rest, but that Amy can't curl up into a ball when she jumps, that feels like a little too like that feels like a fundamental principle. I feel like you're handicapping me a little too much with that. Even if I can press A second time to get a hammer swing. It's like, oh, if I just mess up this one little thing that's base instinct, I'm gonna get hit when I otherwise wouldn't.
It's so weird.
But I want her to have the hammer because the way you can utilize that for momentum and height in Adventure 1 is cool, and it felt like such missed potential that she wasn't even a little bit faster, or that she didn't have more focus on platforming. So they try to do that here when they start fucking around with level design, with random bullshit. It's like, there's good here. It's not great.
Yep.
Cream, though, is the god of the multiverse in Sonic because you can just press B. Have you seen this shit?
Yes, I have.
Bro, she's like 7. And Jesus, just a little guy with a bow tie. Who is he? The god of hyperdeath.
Apparently.
Move over, Azrael Dreamer. She doesn't even need a super form. You know why they haven't given her one? If Cream showed up in Sonic Frontiers, there'd be no story. She would press B to hit the moon with cheese 8 times, and it would explode. And everyone would be freed from cyberspace. That's why she hasn't been in games, man. Big, they don't put in games because they don't like him. Cream, it's because they can't or they don't have a story. They don't have a narrative.
They don't have a reason to explain why she's a god.
Also, she's really cute.
She's like 7, and she's
great.
Years.
Yeah.
I like when she runs, she'll occasionally go, hey.
I love that she's a parallel to Tails, and the idea they came up with for another mammal that can't fly to fly is they took inspiration from the rabbits with the extra long ears and like, what if they just flash up and down? I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love it when they take these animals and give them these specific purposes for their abilities. Like, that's why I feel weird on Knuckles, because like, if he were a bat to begin with, it'd make sense for him to like glide and maybe climb, right? Or if he were like a flying squirrel, like Ray.
It's why I like a show like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so much, because you just think of turtles as these slow creatures.
Yeah.
And then you just see ninjas and you're just like, whatever.
But I like it when there's thought put into it. Like, they came up with Tails as someone who could run as fast as Sonic because his tails can work as propellers. It's that kind of mentality I really like in character design. They do it a lot. We'll get into that later with
characters.
My favorite character.
Okay.
Which, as you know, is Eggman. I can't say the other part, but the...
It's funny because I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm talking, of course, about Eggman...
Yogurt.
What is Eggman yogurt?
It's not important.
I'm deciding that it's important. Please tell me what that is before. I won't let you move on to Heroes until you explain.
That's the Eggman from Generations. That's his name, Eggman Yogurt.
What are you talking?
Because he's constantly in a white void. I don't know.
It's a transformation he undergoes?
Yes.
Is the classic one a different flavor?
Yes.
What flavor?
I don't know. Whatever you say, I'm gonna say yes.
Does the Time Eater manipulate space-time with yogurt?
Yes.
Okay.
With Yoplait. Not the animals. You just Yoplait.
Oh, that's why the Supersonics feel so sluggish in that boss fight, is they're going through a yogurt space-time rift.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then the reason why Danimals is... Sonic Heroes was released in 2004 for PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox, and PC.
Was it on Xbox?
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was completely multi-platform. And when they realized that they don't have one Sega console to develop for and they should go multi-plat, have you heard of Heroes' development?
Yeah.
It turned into like 3 guys working 50 hours a week, and then it turned into 1 guy working like 70 hours a week. Bro, I feel so bad. So bad for the developers. That doesn't mean Heroes gets a free fucking pass. Now, it's not D tier. I'm not going to go that crazy. Okay, D tier is reserved for stuff that you can barely play, like R. Or, like, you can play, but there isn't a lot of stuff going on, right? Heroes is C. It's a mid, almost low C. It's below, to me, at least the first 2 Advanced games. But it's above Advance 3 and Sonic 1.
Okay.
Like, look, you know I guess you could almost call me like a Sonic, not purist, let's say idealist, right? Where like, why aren't 2D games as good as Sonic 3? Why aren't 3 games as good as Adventure 2 Generations?
Yeah.
I understand why Heroes is the way it is, but I can't...
Just give it a pass.
My parents aren't spending $60 for their kid to empathize with the plight of crunch culture. They're spending $60 to get enjoyment out of a game that advertisements and previous titles in the series set up expectations for. Okay? I think it really is important to empathize with the developers for all this shit because, like, it's been crunch culture for 30 fucking years, and I don't understand how Sega hasn't learned their lesson. Okay, so again, I'm not insulting developers, but as a product and as a fan of games that I think do things better, Heroes is like, would I say the definition of mediocrity? I feel like that's maybe being a bit too harsh.
It's
Heroes doesn't feel like a follow-up to Adventure 2. I think that's maybe the most poignant thing I could say about it.
To be fair, in interviews, they did not want it to be a follow-up to Adventure 2.
Right, but it almost starts losing that core Sonic identity as a whole. Like, okay, there are parts where you go fast, you don't earn the speed. There's parts with rings. There's also this is the first of 40 million times you'll hear me complain about. And this is the start of enemies with health bars. I don't think this belongs in a Sonic game. I just don't think it does. 2D, 3D, speed character, power character, I think it fundamentally goes against the design. Even Adventure 2 was not messing around with this idea. And for the better.
When you're saying enemies, though, you're not specific.
No, not bosses.
Yeah, those are not bosses.
Bosses should have more than one hit to take, right? But it's specifically a problem because, like, they're not even just an obstacle in your path. Like, they will lock a room and then they'll put in, like, 5 enemies and 1 or 2 of them have a big health bar. And if you don't beat all of them, the doors are just locked. Like, you have to. You can't speed it up besides, is your character powered up? Maybe you can get an extra hit in before this 10-second long phase where you and then swing the hammer and then, oh, I'm falling down, and then fuck Heroes.
So, how many times have you played Heroes?
I played Heroes a lot as a kid.
Okay.
And then there was a long gap of time, and I bought it because I was feeling nostalgic, maybe like 5 years ago. So like a 10-year gap. And I got to like Casino Park with like one team. I was just like, it's not that I'm not having fun, but the issues I had when I was a kid, I feel
have been heightened.
Even more negative now because I've seen just how good the other stuff is, the peaks of the franchise, right? It's not a horrible game, but I think it's a horrible Sonic game. But again, probably being too harsh. I have a vendetta against Heroes because it comes after what I think is like the peak of the series.
Oh yeah, well it's definitely not going to be able to live up to that.
No, I can't even say it's a horrible Sonic game, but it falls short in almost any way I can think of that matters.
So, my notes on Sonic Heroes, it says, though I do understand the frustration of having to play the same series of levels 4 times, I can't say I'm too bothered here. The dialogue between teammates does a lot of heavy lifting for me.
Oh, for sure.
And creativity in the level design goes hard. Certain levels. I know that they wanted to make a casino stage like Casino Park since Adventure 1.
Yeah.
I know that they wanted to do that. I like a lot of I think every song has some level of slap.
Oh, absolutely.
And I cannot crap on that at all. But
I like that every character is covered in Vaseline.
Very shiny.
It's not a bad thing. I can't even call that nitpick. I think it's just funny.
Just a neat little anecdote is that this was around the time I started getting on the computer and started looking up like cheat codes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And this was the first time I was able to realize like, oh, you can play as the metallic characters in 2-player mode and stuff. So that was neat. I can see the flaws because, and this was an intentional design choice, and I forget the reason why, but all the enemies are flying away from you.
The bosses?
Yeah, all the bosses fly away from you. What's the first one?
There's Hedgehog.
There's
Albatross, and Emperor.
And Emperor. They all fly backwards. They all go back. And I get it. It's kind of like feeling like you're charging in and you're rushing head in to fight them and everything.
Yeah. Advance 2 did something like that too. We didn't talk about that. Like for the most part, you're running after them. That's the best way to put it.
I understand that stages where the teammates fight the other teams is just awful and unpredictable and garbage. It's so hard to, I mean, not really once you just cheese it, but like if you try and take that fight seriously, there's really no way you can win. Because once you lose a character, you're not used to losing characters.
Yeah.
So your entire playstyle becomes different, and you haven't dealt with that. But the AI does know how to deal with it, and you're not used to that.
Yeah.
To where if you just choose your speed character and jump and press B and do your little tornado,
Yep.
you basically can get them out in 30 seconds. That being said, I kind of like, as much as it's been stated that I don't like repetition, I do like the 2-act, 1 boss type mechanic where it's go through Act 1, go through Act 2, here's the boss.
Yeah, and that feels like something that Sonic 2 really started. Like Sonic 1, you have 3 acts in a zone, and it's like, this can work, but it's a little repetitive. And then Sonic 2 is like 2 acts, and then games like Sonic 3 will occasionally do like the second act's different now. And Heroes continues that kind of streamlining, that evolution of that format.
And I think this game is so creative in its aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like to where when I do not like Mystic Mansion, but I love its aesthetic.
Of course, yeah.
It looks phenomenal, but then I just look at the gameplay and I'm like, I'm not into it. That being said, I gave it an S rank.
Really? Wow.
I gave it an S rank, and I think it's because when I really thought about it, the repetition doesn't bother me. There's enough between the characters and the characters bantering that keeps me going. I think the team blasts are a fun, unique mechanic. The bosses never really bother me. Like,
They're not.
As much as like I don't like the it's just a bunch of enemies thrown at you. As much as I don't like that, it never bothered me.
The bosses aren't good, but they're not painful.
Yeah, they're not painful.
They're not really even bad. They're just like there.
And it's like I don't like giving like an S for nostalgia. It's like no, I played this game on and off throughout the years where I'm just like, I'll just turn it on and I'll just start playing, and it's like I actually like the hidden it's Metal Sonic's behind everything. I think that's kind of fun. I'm like, he finally did something useful.
Yeah.
Like he finally became just like fucking Godzilla monster, and just like whatever. Like I don't know. I can't explain why, but I go back.
Because the whole game's aesthetic and atmosphere and premise is fun.
It's because it's just unfiltered
friends and fun.
It's literally just fun, and it's like I look at this game and it's like, yes, you could try to take the story seriously, and there it has its flaws, but the level of cohesion doesn't really supply to that, and it just kind of looks all wacky anyway when they're walking through Hang Castle and sliding on grind rails and Rail Canyon. It's like, okay, well, how did they get here? Like, what the fuck's happening? And I'm just like,
but it's fun.
But it's just fun, and it's like I can't pretend that I'm not having fun when I just turn on that game, because it's like, as much as I want to say like, oh man, again, I'm viewing this from the perspective of someone who picked up this game wanting to have a fun time, wanting to enjoy a Sonic character, and if I had just played SA2, I definitely think it's different, but I'd still think it's fun.
So, and I'll go into a couple of reasons why I'm harsher on the game, but just to be sure, I know you've put SA2 and Heroes in S tier. Is there anything else in S tier?
For me?
So far. Games we've covered so far.
I don't think for games, no. No, nothing.
So Heroes ranks higher for you than Sonic 3 and Adventure 1.
Yes.
You are fucking high. You are absolutely... You got the Zaza. Bro. Your eyes are so red, I think you've hit your final boss phase. What's going on? Okay, now I love Heroes, and I love that you pointed out that the world is much more colorful than it was in the adventure games, which works for those games, but they specifically wanted to do that kind of like fantastical wackiness with all the vibrant colors and like weird geometric shapes that the classic games do. And I think that was great for the, you know, a bare bones story with a little bit of cool detail and just a lot of fun characters.
Yep.
Heroes is carried by the fact that it's got a bunch of characters. The core conceit of Sonic Heroes in development was, we know people like these characters, let's just throw in like all the characters.
Yep.
And it succeeds in that way. I just don't think it's a super fun game to play. Like, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's like I have a list here. Speed types feel slippery, like, more than they should be, right? When, like, adventure games, you have perfect control. The Rocket Excel is just garbage. Flight speed is really slow, and it's contextualized. You're carrying people. I get it. Okay. Power characters are slow too, even when they're not carrying people. It's like, okay. And then enemies with health bars and locked rooms, and pinball controls suck, and switching rails sucks. It's building and it's building.
I think for me, it's that. I think I played the game a lot more than you. Maybe, who knows?
Probably at this point, yes.
I've found workarounds, and I don't know, maybe that's just me cheesing the system, but it's just like, if you ever feel that your speed character is ever getting too far out of control, here's a thing that, a quirk that I discovered, that changing between characters and, you know, the flying power characters is so snappy.
Yes.
It's so quick, and so when my speed character starts getting out of control, I switch to one of the two.
Right.
To where it's like, okay, I'm cool. Immediately back in control, to where in places like Rail Canyon and Bullet
Station,
I don't use the speed characters that much unless I have to, because if I try to go fast, I will fly off.
Right.
To where if I am in more control of my power characters or my flight characters, I have much more precision and accuracy. I'm not super focused on going fast.
Right, and you really can't be with Heroes.
No, and it's very different, and I concede to that. But it's like, at the same time, it's just too fun for me to give it anything. Like, I don't know, and it's like, I will easily say that my two least favorites are probably Egg Fleet and Final Fortress. Simply because there's too much for me, there's a lot being thrown in to where it doesn't feel like it needs to be.
Yeah.
There's concepts that are thrown in that are completely forgotten afterwards. No one cares, but it's like, okay, that happens. But I don't know, just everything else I found so enjoyable. And you can claim like, oh, well, this is Sonic's story. Why is it similar to Shadows? Or why is it similar to Amy's? Why is it similar to
oh yeah, why they go in the same order?
Chaotix. And it's like, I don't know, that just doesn't bother me. And I understand its flaws. I completely get it. I will fully say your rating is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. Because again, I think D is like, it's a little too low. That would imply that like playing this game is painful, and that's just not true. But it's a slog for me.
For me, every time I turn it on, I don't know what it is. I could try and sit here and explain it all day. I just find it way too.
No, I do get it. It's that I'm very particular about gameplay, especially when it's been done before. Then I'm extra critical on it, which is why I hate the entirety of the Sonic franchise after 2001. But no, again, like, I like CD way more than most people because that game is carried by its aesthetic, and even then, Heroes uses its aesthetic as well as characters better than CD does. I just have a stupid fascination with Naoto Oshima's art design, right? And like the music of that game, but Heroes does more with its stuff, you know? But I also think that CD's more fun to play because even if the stages don't fit Sonic, Sonic controls like Sonic. In this game, like, it's not that he doesn't feel exactly like he did in the adventure games. It's that, like, this doesn't even play like how Sonic has in any of the last games. You don't have those same core tenets of the way you think about, like, slopes and charging a spin dash and momentum, right? It's a little too... I don't know that watered down is the right word, because it's too different to be watered down. That would imply that there's still similarities. It's very different.
It's just different.
I don't know what else I could really say about this game.
It's such a weird game. It's
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
What?
I just remembered something.
What?
That I was doing a little bit of extra research for the video last night, just for the tier list, to make sure, like, is this what I want to rank this game and why?
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed something. I was looking at a video about Shadow the Hedgehog, and it was addressing why some people think that Shadow coming back was bullshit, besides, like, he's a popular character. And am I fucking stupid? Because last night was the first time I've ever noticed that when Super Shadow is falling from space in SA2, that little blip is chaos control.
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of chaos. At least to me, it looks like a different kind of chaos control, which may or may not mean something, but it's crazy to me. So is that something that, like, every, like, real Sonic fan knows that I never noticed?
I always assumed it was chaos control. That was just because that's what that game introduced. I always assumed it was, like, because
like, I never even noticed that, like, he flashes and disappears. I was just thinking, like, oh, okay, he's, like, going further into the Earth's atmosphere and he's just falling. I thought Shadow just fell to Earth all the way.
Which, again,
because
would
of
have
my
happened.
dumb zoomer brain that doesn't notice these details.
I'll get more into that when we get into Shadow, but just anything else to say about Sonic Heroes?
No, again, I want to stress that I'm harsher on this because Sonic 3 and Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, it's like, it's also close. Like,
yeah.
We're really reaching
That's true.
peak. And let me remind you that the only game that's gone into A rank for me is Sonic 3, and nothing has gone into S tier yet. So it's like, we got a little bit of work to do. And, like,
Fine.
Now Heroes just...
I'm actually thinking I might actually put a Adventure in S rank, because that's another game that every time I turn on I just have fun with.
I was gonna say, I think if you put Adventure 2 and Heroes in S rank and not Adventure... I can't say that's crazy.
It's just that I recognize that game takes me out of some of its games sometimes. Because, like I said, the Amy stuff just takes you out of it. The big stuff takes you out of it. It's such a breakup from everything else.
Whereas Heroes, it's consistent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one other thing I want to say is you said you might call me crazy for not thinking the game's repetitive, but I think... Well, I can only say this about Heroes so far, but what constitutes as an S or A rank game for you might not include beating the game to completion. Because Heroes is much less of a slog when you just do one playthrough, and then you're like, okay. When you're playing through the same stages in the same order and barely anything changes except 2 modes where the stages get even longer.
I mean,
it is that accurate for me to say that, like, it doesn't factor as much into your ranking of games? Because to me, like,
it factors, and that's actually, like, again, like...
So you just don't mind doing all 4 playthroughs then?
I think 4 playthroughs is not ideal, but considering the fact that one of them isn't even really a playthrough...
Oh, what, Team Rose?
Yeah, Team Rose isn't... It's like half... It's like the Sonic stages by half. And
yeah.
It's like, it's not even...
That's how they should be. No, sorry.
Oh.
I spit truth sometimes. It's very disgusting.
I'm sorry, I had truth serum for breakfast. But,
That's not what truth serum means.
I know, but,
yeah, I guess that's it. So next is, if I'm looking at this right...
I think Shadow, right? Or is it Rush?
they came out on the same day, which is still like, that's the most Sonic thing of all time.
I say do Shadow first then, because we can do...
Because it's a standalone thing, yeah.
Because we can do Rush and Rush 2 or Adventure.
Yeah.
But,
So, last night...
Drew, I like that beanie you're wearing, but can you do me a favor and, like, cover one sclera with your hat?
Sorry, I've never heard any human being say that word out loud, and that kind of...
Can you do that for me really quick?
What are you doing?
Just, can you do that for me really quick?
Like this?
Yeah, like cover. Like, your actual eye.
Oh, the whole... Okay. Why?
Because now you have a Doom eye. And that leads me into...
I don't like you.
That leads us into Shadow the Hedgehog.
Where is it? Okay, so, on day, 7 of my, I'm looking at all these Sonic games brain rot, because you don't understand. Again, we told you, right? No one hates Sonic as much as Sonic fans.
I was gonna say we told you.
Listen,
it's like you're like the Avatar with all the Sonic fans behind you.
I mentioned this earlier that when I had a Wii and I could play all these GameCube games, I had most of the Sonic games you get, besides Riders, I think was the only one. I had all the classics, Adventure 1, Adventure 2, Heroes, and Shadow. I put a lot of hours into not as much the classics back then, but the 3D ones, all equally. I played them each for a couple hundred hours each. Because I was just obsessed with Sonic, you know?
I know.
Last night, 8:58 p.m., the beginning of the end. Trying to figure out if Shadow the Hedgehog is maybe actually better than Heroes is giving me fucking 8th dimensional existential crisis I didn't even know was possible. Blah, 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 blah.
What was my response again?
Do you want me to go through it bit by bit?
No, I just want to hear what my response to that was.
I think you must be tripping.
Okay.
Which is objectively correct.
Yes, thank you.
No matter how we feel about these games and how we rank them, it's subjective. You can't pretend like it's objective. The instant you have any slight opinion, it's not objective. You were objectively correct that it was tripping. I explained some stuff. But you just fighting back against me in my horrible take snapped me out of it. And you said something I've not heard before in my fucking 20 years of being in the entire fandom. I've heard lots of correct takes, few and far between, but I've never heard, and I quote, "It's a Sonic fan's right to hit other Sonic fans with the 'oh no you don't' stick before they go down a dark road." And I immediately understood how brain rot affects each Sonic fan differently. Because I've heard opinions like, Shadow and 06 were disappointing, but Sonic Colors made me drop the franchise for a while. How? And now I get it.
Yeah. When you experience too much all at once, you're just it's like bloom off a rose. You're just like, all right, this flower's fucking dead. Just water it, put it in the back, get some sun on it. Just don't try and keep growing it.
Now, I don't expect anyone to understand how I feel about Shadow, because it's another one of those Sonic CD weird fascinations turn up to 11. But let me be clear, D rank. I don't think it's bad enough to be E, because again, E is functionally the F tier games, except this tier's F tier is games that don't even work. E tier's F games that kind of work. D games are games that work and I think suck. I think that's where Shadow goes. I enjoy playing Shadow the Hedgehog as a video game more than Heroes. I think it's a more consistent and interesting experience. There's no way it's a better Sonic game. Not in the slightest. Because the worst part about Heroes is the Chaotix missions. Hey, kill these 40 enemies. Someone at Sonic Team said we could make that an entire game. And I think maybe that person should have their IP address leaked. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hey, just throwing that out there.
Maybe dox them. I don't know. Whatever.
Whoever. You ruined my childhood. Haha. Well, whatever. Because the dichotomy too of like you have good, neutral, and dark missions. Some people who are even bigger into Shadow than me that see even more good in it and see this really like tight experience in the same way that like SA2 has a lot of thoughtful design that makes it kind of cohesive. A lot of people see Shadow that way, and I get it too. I'm just not as big on it. But like, there's a lot of criticism about why every person's first time playing Shadow the Hedgehog is just a neutral route. Because every stage you go in, it's dark mission, kill 40 gun soldiers. Hero side, destroy 10 alien generators. Neutral mission, pretend like you're playing a Sonic game, and sometimes you kind of can. Of course you can do the neutral route first.
Can I interrupt you to tell you my biggest problem with Shadow?
I love that sentence because the next one could be any like one of 14 complaints.
I'll start by reading my note, which is, as someone who was all about edgy stuff growing up, I hated this game. Now keep in mind, I did play this game.
How much did you play?
Continuity be damned. This game made Shadow look like a fool every time you blinked. It's atrocious, Ranky. Now, Shadow looks like the dumbest cunt that ever lived on the face of God's green earth because have you read some of the dialogue in this shit?
Bro, I've played this game. I know.
He looks like a dumbass.
You mean
when he's told, damn, I have to, what am I supposed to do here? Kill so many guns. And he's like, oh yeah? Well, you think that he puts his hand in front of his face like it's fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's like, well, you think that all 40 of them are just gonna die? Yes. Oh shit. Well, I guess I better do something, kind of.
I think...
What the fuck is this game? I'm not even mad. I'm really mad.
You are...
But I'm very...
I think the most poignant line about the characterization in this game, which I want to talk about the characterization more deeply, but like, the face of the edginess to me is not even a line that has any swear words in it. It's when, there's Shadow's getting a free ride to the Black Comet with Sonic and company, because why wouldn't you, right? How else is he gonna get there? And there's just a Chaos Emerald in the room that he's in. Sonic leaves, and his eyes rolled in the back of his head like he was a billiards pro. Oh my god. Bro, his mouth is a half circle. It's just pain. It is a rainbow arc. You look like Scrooge. You look like Scrooge before any of the ghosts even have a chance to visit him. Oh man. He says, looking at this Chaos Emerald, the container, powering the ship, this is like taking candy from a baby. Okay. Comma. Oh no? Which is fine by me. Oh no.
This game.
Now, a lot of people say...
Fuck this.
Did you say it's a scam?
I said fuck this game.
Oh, I think this game's also a scam. But I'm going to defend the premise. I don't like the premise, but I understand what they were going for. And I want to argue from that perspective, the developer's perspective, is I think what they were trying to do is, like, a lot of people complain... Well, two things. One, why is the characterization for Shadow so all over the place and bad in this game? And why do you get 10 different endings to unlock the true story, and then none of the 10 endings ever matter? Well, I think the reason for those two go hand in hand, they were trying to weave this narrative that, like, everyone wants to pull Shadow in their direction. Sonic thinks, oh, Shadow, you're a hero, right? Because you're one of the good guys, and you saved Earth with me. You have to be a good guy. And then Black Dude's like, I helped create you, so you have to follow in my path, and you have to do what I say and become the next in line to rule the Black Arms and destroy the world. Eggman wants to use Shadow even, because of course he does. Eggman saved Shadow's life, and now he's lying about it, to the point where after the Sonic Heroes ending, Eggman doubles down on this. Yeah, Shadow, you're an android, and you're one of my creations. I made you in my image, right? Everyone's pulling Shadow in these different directions, and all these routes are really just what ifs, and they're exploring all these things that Shadow isn't, and you know as the player that's played Adventure 2 that none of these are Shadow. So the true last story, like, yes, Shadow saves the world, like, he does a good thing, but it doesn't mean he's necessarily, like, the hero, which I kind of disagree with, but
Yeah.
I get it, and I think that's one of the couple aspects of this game that I think, like, this is kind of an interesting game that Sonic Team made, but the worst part is that they put it in the world of Sonic. And they tried telling this story, and they tried these gameplay concepts with Shadow, and it doesn't fit. They made it, like, kind of, sort of, not really, not work.
If I may, and I don't want to.
And again, I don't agree with what the developers are trying. I see the good in it, but if it were just like a standalone IP with like original characters, I think it would have been really poignant and cool. It doesn't land with Shadow because we already know he's a good guy. He was made as basically humanity's savior, and he doubles down on that with Sonic, right? So to kind of say like, yeah, he's gonna save the world, he's still doing his own thing, like, kind of.
So let's start with.
We have not even touched on the guns. Oh my god.
Let's start on the fact that I played this game when I was younger.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I played this game, and at first the guns aren't really too bad to understand. You just pick one up, start shooting, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't understand, or rather, I don't know why it's included, because it's never helpful. Checkpoint jumping.
What is it?
Checkpoint jumping.
Oh, I understand why it's in the game.
Oh, I understand too, but it's not helpful.
No, it's not.
It's a useless, borderline useless mechanic.
Like, the idea of it is useful, but then you realize that when you're missing two enemies at the end of the stage and you go back to a checkpoint, they don't even tell you what checkpoints it's in between. Mm-hmm. Much less like a map or a radar or a compass, right? They can't even do you that.
The fact that they're segmented, you think a little thing would pop up too in here or something, but no, it's just nothing, and it's like
you just have to memorize and you have to notice. And right, especially when some of these levels are labyrinthine, like the Doom and Lost Impact. We're gonna talk about Lost Impact.
I have played a lot of Sonic games as a youngin'.
Yeah.
And I was excited to get my hand on Shadow because I was like, oh, Shadow, edgy. And like I said, I was all into get the Lost Impact. And I didn't beat it. Not only did I not beat it, I went back to it 3 separate times, and I never beat it. I sold my copy, and in exchange got The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Wow, that is a life-changing experience.
So I was saved from doom.
By Zelda.
Now you can never question my love of Zelda again.
Well, you already had nothing but good reasons to love Ocarina of Time, but now I see it as a personal... That's your angel.
I really tried. I'm not one to often... Even as a kid, I was never one to really give up on games. I was always one that would be like, oh, maybe I'm just doing something wrong. And I would look up gameplay videos on YouTube. Back when I was fresh and new, I was like, okay, that's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, I got every game late.
Yeah.
I was playing Adventure 2 and like when YouTube came out.
Yeah.
So I was not all there when I was first playing, and I was just like, okay, I get it. Canon Core was probably the only one I looked up at the time.
Yeah.
It's long, I didn't get it, and it was frustrating.
And the breathing necklace isn't required until then.
Yes, and I was so confused.
Mm-hmm.
But when I finally looked up some impact,
Lost impact.
I looked it up and I thought, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. I did everything I was supposed to. And I thought I did everything I was supposed to. And it just never happened.
Because
it all looks the fucking same.
It all looks the same. There's no landmarks, and time again in the game, this, like, because this doesn't already belong in the Sonic game, right? So it's bad enough. But when you have to kill 40 enemies in a level, there's not 50. There's not 45. There's 40. And they do this too in the most confusing part of the game. Now, I would be remiss to not bring up the fact that the Doom and Lost Impact have maps. They're not good. They're plastered on the wall in some rooms, and they show a dot in a big grid. And like, yes, this is the least useful a map could possibly be while still being a map. Good job, guys. It doesn't fix any of those other issues.
And even then, as a kid, I didn't fully understand about the checkpoints in the map.
Yeah, I didn't figure it out for a while either.
And even when I did it, I still couldn't find them. And so I finally just said, okay, I quit.
Yeah.
And then since then, I have never played that game.
Lost Impact is by far the level people complain the most about, and it's ECCY.
I think that was the True Good, right? The True Good.
Yes, it's the second to last True Good. Where you get that Black Comet reskin.
That was what I was really trying to do, and I was just like, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. And I finally, I was just like, you know what, it's time, I can't do it. That being said, my trauma aside, I rank this E. I rank this E because it is not a good game. I can, as we discussed with Sonic Heroes, I can view even the most bullshit concepts as fun. But this game made me feel like I don't know what fun is.
It makes you forget what fun is.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like a chore. I'm like, well, did you pick up all 17 of your toys? I don't know. Is there one lying around? You don't fucking know. You just are lost.
I really like that comparison.
You're just so fucking, you're confused.
No playing with Ron until then.
You don't get the true ending until you kill all 40 of the germs. It's like, fucking what?
The artificial chaos, they kind of look like germs.
They're like weird amoeba things.
Now I want to defend. He just got all the Sonic Team lice out of his hair.
I'm sorry, I just said, hot in here, anger.
I want to defend one part of the story and absolutely destroy into the concrete another. A lot of people say that Gerald was out of character in this game, which just isn't true. And I don't.
He was portrayed as out of character.
I don't think so. I think, to me, okay, it is. Alright, this is a half argument. It is stupid that any person would see an alien that looks like Black Doom if they were, like, genre savvy and aware of the medium they're in. You'd be like, no. But Black Doom is like, hey, if you can, help me with the Chaos Emeralds for, like, my people, I can help you build the Ultimate Life Form and achieve your goal of, like, helping your niece. And again, like, you do have to stretch that to even believe it, and I understand, but, like, I wouldn't quite say that's out of character. Is that weird? I don't think it's out of character. But it is a stretch. But it's in character. Like,
it's a stretch, and it's the only part that's out of character to me is the very end. When they try to justify Gerald Robotnik's actions as being You see, he created the Eclipse Cannon to save us all.
Okay, you know, I completely forgot about that, so no, never mind. So now it's 2 arguments against the story. The other one is, so the beginning of the story is Shadow's like, why can't I remember anything, right? And then an alien invasion happens, and Black Doom, who's clearly part of the race of aliens destroying the city, that Shadow has no reason to think needs to be destroyed, is like, I can help you with your memories, you gotta help me destroy humanity. And Shadow's like, I'll think about it. Now maybe after SA2, directly after, with the memory lapse, sure.
Yeah.
There's a game in between. He could ask Rouge. And I could even say Omega or Sonic, maybe. Okay, no, Rouge is right there. You're best friends, and you know who she is. And Rouge makes it clear throughout Heroes, like, yeah, I know what happened to you. We're just not talking about it because this game's wacky. And look, she's the child. Haha, here's Grand Metropolis. We're not talking about SA2. Hee hee. No excuse. When the beginning of your game, when the opening cutscene has no excuse to be written the way it is, I'm really glad I paid $60. And again, like the gunplay, like I don't think the gunplay is horrible. I think actually the gunplay is one of the best parts about the game because it's very snappy and like gunshots happen real quickly. I think the melee weapons, like no reason to exist.
A lot of people like to criticize this game as being Sonic with guns. That's the least of the problems here.
Yeah. Like, I think the idea of a 3D running gun, like a 3D, like, Gunstar Heroes or like a 3D Contra is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
My problem, well, one, I don't think having ranged weapons enhances Sonic's gameplay. Like, not the core values of it, right? But also, the problem with the guns in this game is not that there are ranged weapons, it's that I don't like that there's realistic firearms. Like all the black alien guns, like I think that's fine. But like, look, our story for Shadow is already very dark. It's already, for me, kind of, it's pushing the edge of like what I think Sonic should be. But I'm gonna allow that wiggle room. So yes, we have a government conspiracy, and we have shooting a laser at the planet, not because you're an evil scientist, but because humanity betrayed me, and now I'm in front of a fucking firing squad. It's a little bit much for me, but I'm okay with it. I think any Sonic character holding a realistic firearm and shooting a human being and then, for a fucking game realistically hunching over on the ground, that's too much. Because the other things, all that stuff I said for SA2, that is in service of a narrative, of a story. Shadow the Hedgehog, they did that because, oh, well, Resident Evil and Underworld look really cool, and what if we did that with Shadow? No. I don't care if it's a character that has justification, quote, fucking unquote, for hating humanity. This is a Sonic game. I don't care if Sonic's not on the title. I don't care that it's E10 or Team. This is the world you're setting it in. That's not allowed. I've decided that, and I think most people would agree with me.
Another big sin that I see is that it's just they're all the reused characters from Heroes.
Are you talking about the models?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, but I'm saying, like, you want